Are we Avengers now?
If you say it, maybe it'll come true.
Oh, God, that's painful.
Definite mistake.
And then you combine it with the classic.
How long will you play Captain Marvel for?
I don't know. Does anyone want me to do it again? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
My dear Plank, it's been so long. That first movie was a journey, and it's finally time for a sequel. Though somehow I imagine my sequel video is set to turn more of a profit than even the cosmic vampire of creativity that is Disney can muster with its now many iconic adventures into cinematic decomposition. But we can talk about all that later. Before we start, I need to talk about the final trailer they put out for this thing. Now, look at the initial, well, not scene, not second. Look at the first frame of the trailer, okay? 3, 2, 1...
Heroes.
Why are you here, sir? I believe you may be lost.
Heroes. It's an old-fashioned notion. But the world can still use them.
Yes, I am playing the correct clip. This is a trailer for The Marvels, not starring Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr., and no, you are not alone in being entirely confused. Why in the howling piss are you stitching Plank into quotes and scenes she ain't even remotely a part of? Get these boys' names out your fucking mouth.
Oh, wow!
Ready.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Ugh, I've not even started. What the fuck? What slimy nonsense are you up to, Marvel?
We destroyed Thanos. But it's not over.
No, it's over. He died. Twice, you pungulated enema. Guy was turned to dust along with his entire army. Why are you trying to connect this to characters that have nothing to do with you?
My work is inevitable. There will always be more to finish it.
You know, this line feels like they either got a drunken Josh Brolin impersonator to rush it out over the phone, or they cobbled it together from several MCU clips during a coke-fueled rage. To be fair, they have been tasked with marketing the MCU equivalent of the Titanic, the iceberg in this case being our fucking patience.
My work is inevitable.
He did not say, my work is inevitable.
I am inevitable.
Had he said the former, Tony would have said, and my work is Iron Man. Which would have been pretty shit, but certainly not too shit for you fuckers.
There will always be more to finish it.
Do you guys hear that? Sounds like he said, to finish that.
To finish it.
As though they cobbled this word salad from other clips entirely. And besides that...
There will always be more to finish it.
What the fuck are you talking about, goober trailer Thanos? There's actually no one left who fought for you. Iron Man saw to that. This lady has nothing to do with you. Wait, who is this, by the way? Darth Ben? Why does she... It's Ronan the Accuser, but... a girl.
Put a ticket in, make her name it gay!
Hey, we don't know she's gay. However, those shoulder pads sure do have some Easter Island adjacent overcompensating lesbian energy, don't they? Peak retard fire, bro. There's looking like you're wearing your parents' clothes, and then there's whatever the hell this is. Maybe she's big into Minecraft. Also, why does she have a grill or pieces of one? Her teeth look like they're in prison.
I'm asking one last fight. You can't be matched. Can't be controlled. They're here.
Ah, so they stole all of those lines from Avengers 2012. If you don't believe me, let's pop them in back to back.
I'm asking. What are you asking me to do? I'm asking.
Be stronger.
So you can't be matched. The world's filling up with people who can't be matched. They can't be controlled. Can't be controlled. Agent Coulson is down.
A medical team is on its way to your location.
They're here. They called it. They're here. One last fight. One last fight.
Ugh, they even stole lines from fucking Secret Invasion, organized by the Americans Against Russia organization.
Wait, what organization?
The Americans Against Russia organization.
No. What's their name? Not like their goal.
The Americans Against Russia organization.
Mahler clearly doesn't understand what I'm saying because no one would actually call an organization that, so we'll just leave it there.
The show about Daenerys and her Draxarm rewriting history in aid of turning Nicholas J. Fury into a cowardly minge. That was some inspired Monglification.
There's 1 million Skrulls walking amongst us right now? Have you lost your reptilian-ass mind?
Please see the EFAP coverage for the destruction of that demonic ham of a TV show.
Oh, there it is.
What is that? Okay, I see your abomination arm. I raise you a Draxarm.
Yeah.
Look out, coach, it's a charger.
What were they thinking?
I don't think the Marvels had a single sliver of decent dialogue to provide the trailer house, so they decided to steal lines from anywhere else. Imagine being so creatively bankrupt that these poor bastards have nothing but a diaper-filling corpse as their baseline for creating something remotely entertaining for even 2 minutes. They're as confused as Holly Willoughby was that one time on her show.
This is according to the Forcecasters? May the Force be with you.
Maybe not that confused. I guess they can always rely on the old-time golden-goated Avengers film that Phase 4 and 5 have been shamelessly pilfering ever since they stopped hiring those behind the camera and started casting instead.
I got red in my ledger. I'd like to wipe it out.
Can you wipe out that much red?
Your ledgers must be dripping, just gushing red.
I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose. I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
What are you asking me to do? I'm asking, what are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do?
But I suppose it could all be AI. Though I feel like Skynet would be fucking embarrassed to be seen producing this calcified toe jam just as well as any reasonable human being would be. And hey, does this sound like Nick Fury to any of you guys?
Monica, you gotta fly!
Why do you sound like Ned fucking Flanders?
Monica, you gotta fly!
The trailer closes out with several Avengers motifs, a fucking X-Men bait, we'll get to that, packaged with the testicular fortitude to ask that we get excited for what's coming next. This was a rather jarring turn in the marketing, by the way. Initially, they projected a more jovial and fun-loving tone, only to abandon that in favor of something that alludes to this video's creation. You see, the Marvels represents a staggered end to a self-destructive era in the MCU, as well as a significantly rigid point of view. It starts in 2018 and around 2 years prior for planning. I intend to lay out the exact parameters for said era's Disney-designed Coffin, the reasons for this mode of creation dying, and why Doomsday is the inevitable yet aptly titled curse of what they are now left with, accentuated by the choices made in the last gasp of marketing for this very movie. This video, however, represents the first act of 3 on this channel, exploring the current fall, the legendary rise, and the legacy of this cinematic chaos. With that, I'm sure there's no more need to preamble this thing.
How does it feel to have lived long enough to see all of your favorite franchises go down in flames?
I'm fine. I'm perfectly fucking fine.
Look, just start the movie. This video's not going to be 6 hours. Can't fucking believe I made 2 of those. Though, commentary from many sources will be showing up as we go. You're truly not going to believe some of the things I've come across when making this one. I'm sure it'll be barrels of fun, as well as just good old-fashioned clarifying information, like finding out the previous work of who wrote this.
We've been truly lucky to have incredible writers on this film. Alyssa Karasik came to us from Team Loki. Megan McDonald, who I worked with on WandaVision.
This is very amusing.
Loki and WandaVision writers.
If you won't let us go, just let us die.
Pathetic.
If that doesn't spell doom, then I'm sure the basic portrayal of physics in the first 5 minutes will. Speaking of... we open on a dying star, a shriveling, powerless, prolapsing embarrassment trying to claw its way to any remaining semblance of light, begging for the days in which it could shine higher, further, and faster, only to wallow helplessly in a pit of personally produced pus pools splattering as they attempt to flail out of this oxygen-deprived world of disappointment envelops it. A nightmare of self-destruction caused exclusively by its own towering hubris. Once the Marvel logo has left the screen, however, we see what remains of a sun. To be specific, Hala's sun. Hala being the first planet we saw Plank on in her first movie. No, not that Plank. Obviously not. There can be good Plank and shit Plank. Now, shit Plank must have gotten up to something interesting since we last saw her. Hala, her at least partial homeworld, and its inhabitants are experiencing an utterly disastrous ecological catastrophe. Oh, don't take this kind of imagery as representative of anything meta. This is fine. Darth Ben then arrives at this planet, or moon. Spooky Moon? Yeah, she's at Spooky Moon. You guys able to breathe and all that? There's an atmosphere on this thing?
Dusty and sandy. We wanted it to look like the moon surface, sort of. An approximate, but we didn't want people to think they were literally on the moon.
You wanted it to look like a moon, but you didn't want people to think it was a moon. Okay. So, villain arrives at place and collects powerful item. No, not that one. No, not that one. No, for fuck's sake. A different new one. No, an even different, newer one. Darth Ben has herself a bangle. Miss Marvel has the other bangle we're familiar with. Well, you wouldn't be familiar with her, but I am because I watched her show. But why were they separated? Why didn't they get found earlier? How did Darth Ben find this one? And why did she find it now? Don't know. Likely never bloody will. This thing is powerful though, and it will allow a lot of crazy shit to happen.
They were forged as a pair.
Must be buried elsewhere.
Like where?
In any case, do you remember this from my Quantumania video? It's gotten so hard to remember the previous entries at this point that when a character comes back, they're given a fucking previously on.
Someone in there?
A destiny you cannot escape.
Scott Lang.
Well, we're not stopping now. We get a previously on for Plank, Miss Marvel, and Monica, and it's as embarrassing as you'd imagine. They're practically leaning into the fact that nobody has any fucking clue who any of these characters are.
Enter Kamala Khan. Ready for Captain Marvel.
Kamala Khan is a happy-go-lucky girl who idolizes Plank. She then gained powers because her grandmother sent her bangles in the mail. Since nobody watched it, here's one of my favorite moments from the show.
You want to take a picture? I'll tag you. I follow that, mostly.
Yes, it was an unintentionally funny watch when not entirely boring. Though the problems with that show certainly weren't Iman Vellani. She's fun, she can act, and she deserves way better than this. Regardless, they have an animation to summarize Kamala's hero worship of Plank, which is honestly bizarre as a choice over others, considering Earth would have little to no idea who Plank is or what she does beyond blow things up. The few times it's mentioned that she even visits Earth at all are couched in her disdain for having to return when she's so very busy with the rest of the universe anyway. We're going to talk about all of that too. As a result, it should be clear as day that most anyone could know about Plank is that she blew up a ship and she's very powerful. Now that's not to say Plank would have no fans. Art doesn't always imitate life, but if a girl in this world was to hero worship anyone in the selection of heroes who have operated on Earth, surely Black Widow would be far more likely with the knowledge of her sacrifice and her public appearances. You'd think even the Wasp would outrank the Plank, since she's currently creating an entire industry focused on helping those in need on top of maintaining her hero work. I don't know, seems a tad forced, doesn't it? I guess I like that there's animation. Well, anyway.
See flashes, little moments. If I could just piece together what happened that morning.
We see a clip show from Plank's first film in an attempt to convince the audience that wasn't just a fever dream. They summarize the plot, her interactions with Monica, the nickname she gave her, and her stated goal at the end of the film.
Tell the Supreme Intelligence that I'm coming to end it. The war, the lies. All of it.
God, what a shit show of a movie. Though perhaps only half as vomit-inducing as Rainbow Crocs with Socks. Why does God give me the most difficult challenges? Though that's probably pretty good shorthand for Plank. She is the Rainbow Crocs with Socks of people. Oh hey look, they included clips of Monica being abandoned. Just about the only drama they can squeeze out of this gap-filled slurry that is the history for these characters. And why the fuck did she do that? Well, we're gonna find out.
Because it's a mindfuck and because so much of this movie movie is about what she's been doing for the past 30 years and how she feels about herself. It was really important that we included a bunch of stuff from the first film, and then, obviously the new past that we introduce in this film.
You know, a lot of films don't need a previously on for their protagonist's entire adventure in the sequel, but Nia DaCosta very cleverly realized nobody remembered the first fucking film.
Nick Fury, my favorite one-eyed man of intrigue.
What do you know about the surge in the jump point system a few hours ago?
Apparently, the jump points in the universe are acting up, and Fury is tasking Plank with looking into it. This makes sense, of course, that he can casually chat with her and send her on missions. It's not like much of the drama in the cataclysmic events of Infinity War, Endgame, and many other projects in the MCU are perpetuated because Plank is inexplicably and absolutely unavailable. But oh well, this is the current story in the MCU, so whatever is said and done here is simply true. Continuity be damned. Something of a Marvel Studios mantra.
Thankfully, our neural network team was able to trace the origin back to MB418.
Fury and his team figure out that the disturbance in the jump point originates on the spooky moon we saw earlier. It just so happens that old Plank is in the neighborhood. She can check it out. Wow. He then mentions Monica is analyzing it and that Plank should know Monica ain't a little girl anymore. This is honestly sold as though it's the first time Plank's heard that Monica's doing absolutely anything other than being a child on Earth where we last saw them interact. When in actuality, if Plank were working with Sword directly, as Monica is, she not only would have been told by Fury about the one living person they have a shared history with joining their organization ages ago, she would also have very likely crossed paths with Monica through communications during operations of which they've conducted over the years. The woman has superpowers. Do you not think updates should have been provided? Obviously, they are trying to say Plank has only recently been able to rejoin Sword. But we not only know that's horse shit in terms of the communication options shown to us previously, it would mean that only now, by chance, has Plank got an update for the little girl she cared so much for. The one she made promises to. It's almost as though she doesn't think about her at all. Except they want to convince us she absolutely does care about her. Monica is the only person who is spaceship dashboard photo-worthy. You see, a triple whammy of flim fuckery being that as we discover and know already, there are many people's photos who should be there, and we've been shown that she hasn't cared to know anything about Monica despite a direct line to a man who knows her well until he prompted it. How are you telling me she doesn't really care, but she cares this much, and she cares basically not at all? We then get a demonstration of Monica's powers, since really nobody knows fuck all about them. Excuse me, what the fuck are you doing? You seeing this shit? She's phasing her hand out of the suit to then do whatever the fuck they think it is that she's doing. Her suit would decompress. The connective phasing in and out would mean the suit would lose mass inside with nothing to replace it, and the breach connecting the phased and non-phased portions of the body would be intermingling with the suit, which would fuck the entire thing.
Physics is broken.
Oh dear, and that's directly from the writers. Can't imagine I'll not be using that clip several times. Plank then shows us some gnarly special effects while taking her pet cat to the spooky moon, and Fury opens the communications he has with Plank to Monica because he wants to ask just what the fuck she's doing.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm gonna get you some readings, Fury. Hello?
Monica.
Hello?
Don't you need equipment for that? Oh, wait, there's lines for this.
I don't think we're gonna fix it in time to get a reading on the jump point.
I do know someone with superpowers who could.
Apparently, her superpowers function such that she can now detect the stability of jump points through readings. Nebulous, nondescript, seemingly biologically filtered readings. Okay, so like, you can't send a drone? How could this be safe? How is this reliable information? Why would you go and touch it your fucking self?
Is that Monica?
On Carol?
Fury, was that Monica?
Why is she calling her Aunt Plank? She would obviously at this point be far more familiar with her as the famous Captain Marvel or as the operative for S.W.O.R.D. Captain Marvel. She would be referenced casually by everyone in her life all the time, and still she kept calling her Aunt Plank. From the point of view of the audience, Monica spoke with Plank for a handful of hours at best. They barely know each other, and wouldn't the nature of her abandonment be made far more meaningful by the fact that they are no longer on a first-name basis? Remember writing? In any case, Plank, after having been on Spooky Moon for a while now, finally notices something.
I think I found the source of the surge.
No shit. Turns out there's a giant special effects black hole right in front of her. You know, one of those things she can't see until the camera sees it.
Jump point's still leaking energy.
Woman, if it is leaking energy, why the fuck are you heading right toward it? Ah, there you go. She's doing it because it's pretty. As is, by the way, the Plank herself.
Women.
Both of them felt the need to touch the pretty thing that they've seen countless times before and is noticeably unstable, meaning potentially lethal. Monica does it by phasing out of her spacesuit again. The rest of the movie treats her as though she absolutely cannot phase portions of her body. She's either fully phasing or not. This will set the stakes for a later scene. But here, and a little bit earlier, she can apparently do just the arm. I imagine the suit should slip off and float away. But even if it only did so by an inch, she would absolutely be fucked trying to get back in. Maybe now is the time I should make clear what Monica's powers are. Especially since none of you have any idea.
Captain Marvel can absorb light energy. I can see it. I can manipulate and see all wavelengths of the electromagnetic spectrum.
She can see light, manipulate stuff, possibly magnetic fields. She can phase through stuff, become jelly with light. You got all that? Cool. As a result of the two of them touching the fleamy bullshit at exactly the same time, they all switch places, including Ms. Marvel. Monica is now on Spooky Moon, Plank is now on Earth in Ms. Marvel's room, and Ms. Marvel is in space. In Monica's spacesuit somehow. Yes, this is what we're getting for the rest of the movie.
Is this an Avengers test?
Who the hell are you?
So, between the three of them, they will now switch positions with whomever is using their powers whenever two or more of them use their powers at the same time.
The Marvels are entangled with each other. Whenever they use their powers at the same time, they switch places.
Yeah, I just said that. So, let's for the sake of speed here ignore the displacement of matter and the problems that come with that.
Physics is broken.
Let's also move swiftly past whether these people are dying every time a switch occurs and ask a fundamental, simple question. Why would touching the unstable portals connect Plank, Monica, and Ms. Marvel? Well, the idea is that two of them were touching the jump points and Kamala has a bangle on. The extra bit of lore is that the power of the two bangles facilitated the jump points in the first place, meaning there is a connection. But then, if anyone wearing the bangles gets caught up in all of this too, shouldn't Darth Ben now be teleporting with them all? Is she not wearing the other bangle because she's an obsessive power-hungry monster? Unless she was so astronomically lucky that she took it off right before this happened. Aside from that, it would have to mean that no one else was passing through a jump point through the entire universe when they did this. We are shown it's still very much in use. And so when considering there are countless travel events, holidays, wars, and immense intergalactic fucking commerce, this is all astoundingly lucky. And then of course, why is it that they all teleport with whatever they're wearing, except Monica didn't take her spacesuit with her? Obviously Kamala would have died almost instantly and graphically otherwise. And let's be honest, they aren't going to fit the same suit regardless. All of this to say, we are immediately off to a horrifically inconsistent mess. Character, plot, world, they're all falling the fuck apart. And let's be fair, they started on shaky ground to begin with. No use slowing down. I can only imagine Plank finds great comfort and satisfaction when arriving in a gaudy shrine to herself. In any case, she tries to fly away. She then switches with Monica, and she's back on the Spooky Moon. On top of that, Monica is now back in her spacesuit, and Kamala is home. This means, reasonably, that Monica was defending herself from the lads on the Spooky Moon, leading her to, of course, use her powers. But why was Kamala using her powers? Were Sword not slowly trying to get her back in the station? Why in the world would she want to use her powers? Pretty strange, but you have to keep in mind there's countless hours of footage that have been removed to get this thing down to size. I imagine there's not much potential for reason. Speaking of, Plank annihilates a group of enemies with ease because that's her thing, and then asks what Darth Ben is doing. Lucky for her, one of the goons says this.
It's too late. The Supreme is already on tarmac. You can't stop this.
Just FYI, had this damp groin not announced that information, his boss's plan would very likely have gone without a hitch. Many more people would be dead, and our little team here would have little to no leads. What a retarded trooper. In any case, we cut to this.
They're going after the scrolls on Tarnax.
Do not go in swinging. This is a peace and reconciliation tool.
Lines like this are a self-perpetuating pendulous cancer, slathering hot sewage onto screenplays. They are such a travesty in so many ways it takes 10 years to explain why. First, if you saw Secret Invasion, which is set before this anal slime, then you'll know the show ended with Earth establishing an all-out war with the Skrulls. That may sound shocking, but to be fair, the Skrulls conspired as a species to subvert Earth governments and cause nuclear destruction worldwide. Their hope was to steal the planet from our cold, dead human hands. The show was fucking abysmal. The writing backfired hard and gave the Kree a rather large fucking leg to stand on in retrospect. Wiping out the Skrulls before they assimilate your family and authority figures and kill you in your sleep seems like a good idea. And now, we humans are apparently trying to help broker a peace between the Kree and the Skrulls while we are at war with them? Galactically? What the fuck? Yeah, that makes sense. Second, what is apparently happening is a peace and reconciliation tour between the Skrulls of Tarnax and the Kree of what remains of Hala. Tarnax is supposed to be a secret refuge for the Skrulls, one that both Carol and Fury are very aware of and have helped to facilitate. Apparently, this was simply information Fury didn't have in Secret Invasion, since that could easily have been the home for the Skrulls of Earth. The fact that he and Carol couldn't find the Earth Skrulls a home is precisely why they decided to try and eradicate humankind. So, yeah, that makes sense. Third, the Kree have been systematically destroying the Skrulls at every turn, so it's pretty insane that the Kree have been given the location of what we discover is the last refuge for Skrull kind under the pretense of a peace and reconciliation tour. Why would you expect anything other than Skrull obliteration from the Kree? Which is exactly what happens, by the way. That makes sense. Fourth, no one is there to enforce peace. Humans are aware of and support the event, but are doing nothing to actually facilitate it. Several of Earth's heroes could absolutely ensure the peace is maintained. However, they are nowhere to be seen. That also makes sense. Fifth, Plank now knows these people are planning destruction. They believe Plank can't even stop them. This information is what compels her to go to Tarnax, but Fury is suggesting she just leave it alone because it's a peace tour. Nicholas, why the fuck would you say she can't go to the peace tour because she would likely ruin the peace tour when she's telling you that these people are going to destroy the peace tour? Is he stupid? Considering the events of Secret Invasion, that would make sense too.
Sorry, Nick. I was busy kicking Bob's ass.
Nobody calls me Nick, Bob.
I'm sorry, Nick. What were you lying? Those hostages could have died, Nick.
Nick.
Don't do this to me, Nick.
That photo was taken 5 years after Nick and I met.
Nick.
Why was Nick in your apartment last night?
Because Nick told me.
When I first met Nick, Nick's dead. But because Nick asked me to see Nick alive.
We're not just taking down the carriers, Nick. We're taking down shields.
I'm glad you're here, Nick. Our enemies are your enemies, Nick. It's the next step, Nick.
It's almost dead, Nick.
Nobody calls me Nick,
Bob.
Nick.
Oh, and by the way, 6th, the film is cut so fast you might have forgotten a teenager just randomly fucking teleported into the space Monica was occupying. She then met Fury and switched back while Plank ended up on Earth for a few seconds. Apparently, neither Plank nor Fury is telling the other about this, nor do they want to take the time to contact the people they know are clearly involved. That makes so much sense. And before we get to the 7th continuity issue, you all know in these videos of mine we end up discovering a quote. A quote that defines the artist whose work is currently being splattered across the screen. When tackling Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we were graced with Michael Waldron's incisive and honest recollection of the writing process.
Yeah, that's definitely a case of me just not knowing what to do with the script. We're in the second act. Something's got to happen. What should it be?
And then, when venturing through the world of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, we understood rather quickly what we were dealing with thanks to Bill Murray. He decided to be a little honest in relation to Jeff Loveness's work.
This is Jeff, he's a screenwriter. He's writing it as he goes along.
And so, why don't we go to the writer-director of this wonderful project and discover their perspective on the subject, prompted in the audio commentary by a continuity error that even she noticed.
It just appears with popcorn, and we have this whole debate about, like, what do we do about the popcorn? I was like, who cares about continuity?
Why the fuck do I even bother? Is it any surprise that a line of dialogue that I have 7 different continuity issues with was created and approved by someone who says...
Who cares about continuity?
But you do. Everyone does. Continuity generates story in the first place. It's only where we drop adherence to continuity. Perhaps in favor of a particularly great performance, great pacing, great cinematography, great payoffs, or you could drop it for lack of time or money. Or hell, you simply can't be bothered to fix the issue, and that will always distinguish your abilities as an artist from the next. I do, however, appreciate the honesty. Now, to get back to the 7th issue. The disturbance with the jump points connect to a Kree battalion that just claimed while conducting an assault on Plank that she can't stop the Suprema's plan on Tarnax, a planet in which a peace and reconciliation tour is being conducted. Not only is Fury compelling Plank to stay, this is apparently not enough of a call to send all of any units to save the people there and prevent a war. Not only does he not want her to go, he doesn't want to back her up. This is not Fury. He's Nicholas J. Pussy, a tired, confused, and scared old man who would let the world burn if it meant he could hide in the ashes. Gone is the man we used to know. Also, what am I supposed to do with Plank just zooming off despite all of this happening? She always instantly reacts with destruction. That's all we ever seem to get for her character. She's like Wings of Redemption if the Kree were trolls.
Whatever, I hope your family dies in an automobile wreck.
What? So, we hard cut over to Monica, realizing on the Saber base that she switched with Kamala and that teleportation and or switching aren't powers she possesses, making all of this very weird. Only Fury then cuts her off to ask what happened on the spooky moon, meaning they've only managed to get to that subject this long after Monica returned to the spacesuit, got back to the space station, and walked through the whole base. Somehow, Monica didn't immediately tell Fury about the Kree and that she would have fought on the spooky moon after being teleported near the jump point anomalies. Basically, everyone is as retarded in this scene as they are in the whole film as they are in everything the MCU has to produce these days.
Now this shocks me.
Oh, yeah, no worries, Plank. Nobody saw you there because of your cloak and tech. Not like someone could have seen you even by staring out the fucking window. Good lord, the animation's just so flempy. So, Suprema Darth Ben tells the colony of Skrulls that the civil war on Hala has destroyed their sun, polluted their skies, and her people cannot breathe. Hala is out of time. This line poses many, many questions, including how the fuck does a civil war mean your sun is broken?
Are you broken?
How did you wipe out your oceans and breathable air because of a civil war? Did you forget forget that you are on the planet that your enemies are on, and so sabotaging their planet is sabotaging your planet too? How did this civil war start? Is it the brainwashed among the Kree versus the revolutionaries? Did they follow Planck? Why has Planck not solved this? Why would a spacefaring, interstellar dominant culture not just move to another planet in their far-reaching civilization? This shit happened decades ago, post-first Planck movie, set in the fucking 90s. You didn't manage to evacuate? Is the Kree stupid?
Are you broken?
Also, how are they living on Hala right now without air, sun, or water? Are they not freezing, choking, and desperately dehydrating? No? Just hanging out? Okay. What about their orbit? The nature of their position in the universe? Without a sun, they should be a vagabond planet, drifting through the empty void. They shouldn't be parked outside of their now non-functional sun. But then again, I have no idea how they would argue any of this works. Are the basic physics of this world broken?
Are you broken?
So Darth Ben's plan is to incorporate the Skrulls into her empire in exchange for stealing their atmosphere. Yes, she's going to kidnap their atmosphere like she's Dr. fucking Evil. Though even he just put a laser on the moon. Parody is desperately falling behind at this point. What's that? Why didn't Darth Ben just move to this planet in the past 30 years and save Hala from here via other means? I have no fucking clue. Maybe she was conceived at a family reunion. We then see Planck showing off her espionage skills. Listen, with all due respect, you are such a fantastic cretin. You show no interest whatsoever in concealing your entrance into this world despite the fact you know you are not welcome. You then enter the ship with your pet and waddle about hoping no one sees you and now trigger what could easily be a galactic political struggle between factions trying to establish peace. She has no idea what she's doing and she often makes things so much worse. So, Planck attacks some guy and Kamala switches places with her. This means, for some reason, Kamala was using her powers at that exact moment in order for them to switch. Why? Who knows? Kamala then uses her powers and switches with Monica, who for some reason was using her powers on the space elevator? And that was at the same time Planck used her powers again while in the Khan living room? Wouldn't she have been trying to fly away? The thing to highlight, of course, is that the swapping could be happening in such a way that Kamala could be dead at any one of these moments in the film. She could have switched into space, or into an attack from the Kree soldiers that she's not capable of surviving. It's kind of incredibly serious for her, but there's no time to recognize that. We're in a Marvel movie, we're having fun. It's worth mentioning that Planck's cat Goose, the fucker that took Nick's eye, is just messing around as well. Why, you ask? Well, what are the repercussions? You see, the cat ate 2 Kree soldiers with its hyper-tentacle powers. Kamala then accidentally switches the cat with her back to the Khan living room to then vomit up these men who will now immediately try to kill the family. The person who wrote this needs to put a bag over their personality. If anyone thought Goose was a force for good, I wonder how you justify its choice to vomit up a bunch of enemy soldiers in the Khan living room that have the sole intention of killing people. In any case, Planck is now whining to Fury about how annoying it is that she's teleporting. She's not panicking, nor figuring out what people may be dying every second she's interrupted. She's just bantering, despite the fact that she is in the exact place Monica Rambeau just occupied. What I mean to say is that both of these powerhouse, smarty-fuck brain chodes should likely have concluded that Monica is now alone fighting a Kree battalion. But nope, they're just memeing back and forth. What a silly day this is.
I touched it, and then...
Why'd you do that?
Because it was glowing and mysterious. Okay, I'm feeling a lot of negative energy from you, and I don't like it.
Carol also says Darth Ben has been sucking the atmosphere from the spooky moon, and, well, why didn't she tell Fury any of this on the phone earlier? Does it not seem like pertinent information as to the intentions of the Kree? Fuck it. Planck then does a glowy thing with her hand and teleports back to the Khan house in exchange for Monica, and some guy who was probably attacking Monica is now attacking Planck and seems almost completely unfazed by her magically appearing in front of him, and he says,
Annihilator!
I don't like that name.
Listen, the script is a bag of piss-fried bog fuel, but Brie, you could help by looking like you give a single shit. Which is kind of a problem throughout right now. It would seem that everyone was so caught up in creating this very fun, action-packed romp that no one is stopping to ask what any of these people would actually do or feel. Would the Kree soldiers, when being teleported into some random people's house, be interested in simply attacking? Would there not be a single question? What's unfortunate here, and from what we've seen and will see, is that the Kree soldiers are all mindless zombies attacking our characters at every turn, whether history is shared between them or not. Only they become nuanced beings, suffering greatly when we want to show their plight on their planet. Bit awkward, innit? Also, why the fuck was Monica using her powers while having a casual chat with Fury on the Saber elevator? What possible reason could she have had to do that at exactly the right time? Because now, chaos ensues. Kamala's mother confidently protects the cowering father, which is a little bit disappointing. From the show, I figured he was the kind of character to be invigorated when his wife and children are threatened, as opposed to succumbing to cowardice. They show him doing more later, so who knows what they're thinking scene by scene. Anyway, we are then treated to an awful CGI plank switching with Kamala again. Are the fucking graphics DLC now? By the way, this means Kamala was using her powers with Fury in the Saber elevator despite having just switched with Plank, who is probably the best person to be with her family. But this whole time, nobody has asked or cares about the state of Monica battling Kree forces on an alien planet because nobody is human in these things anymore. So Kamala ends up back on the Kree ship and wraps an energy shield around some goons, only to bring them with her when she eventually gets back to Fury on the elevator. But that means whichever of Monica or Plank was there was spamming their powers with Fury too? Why? Are Plank and Monica hoping to switch? That's not something they've established. Dare I ask, what the fuck is going on? The writing-directing combination here is like Rapunzel, except instead of letting down their hair, they let down everyone in their life. The way they edit this is to show you so much chaos that you don't think about what anyone is doing in the scenes that don't have action in them. Also, dragging two alien assailants into a space elevator where a scared, defenseless old fart and a child are might be cause for concern, but Fury has some straightforward commentary. Haha, so funny. The stakes are real. Anyway, those soldiers on the space elevator start shooting at Nick because why not? Kree zombie's gonna Kree zombie. And so he pulls out his gun, avoids the shots by getting into cover, outsmarts them by using distractions and cover to then kill them both with ease. Oh, fuck, sorry, wrong timeline. This Nicholas jackass fuckwit decides to cower in fear as the teenager saves him, to then be provided a gun by the teenager, because I guess he doesn't carry one anymore, to then shoot at the fucking windows of the space elevator like some troglodyte ass-flap cock fairy, to then very luckily not kill himself. What the fuck?
I mean, I'm smiling, but I am very fucking furious.
Incidentally, the death of Stalin is great, but back to Fury. What the fuck do you hope to achieve other than blowing open the fucking windows with that alien pistol you have absolutely no experience with, you sack of fucking Pepsi? You also get a moment here where Kamala is just straight up belted across the room from being slammed with an electric Kree baton, and it does fuck all to her. Like, they do not remember she is just a girl. Only they do remember she's just a girl sometimes because her power covers her up for certain punches, kicks, and shields when she needs them. Oh well. You know, it's just hard for the VFX people to always remember. In any case, Kamala beats up those guys with Fury finishing them off, and the lads in Kamala's house are tied up.
I think I switch when I use my powers.
Really weird to show Monica recognizing Fury is near death to then continue talking about ideas she has. We also see Sword taking the Kree away, which is, what does that mean politically? Are they prisoners of war? Will they receive at least some deference, being that they were kidnapped and eaten by a hideous monster? Do we have any relation to the Kree politically? Do we have any communication? Will negotiations take place whatsoever? Will there be some kind of...
Oh, to be honest, I don't even care.
That switch fight is super fun.
it has a lot of entanglements.
You know, there sure were. Not a lot of writing, though.
It can get confusing at times, so you have to kind of concentrate on, oh, who switched with who?
I mean, it should be pretty straightforward for you guys. You decide if and when it even happens.
You have something like two characters who are switching places. Do you follow the character to their new location, or do you stay in the location where you are? So there were unlimited number of combinations.
No, that would be 2 combinations. Okay, I'm out. Plank then goes into a room with Darth Ben, Man Bun, and all the baddies doing evil plotting, but we cut away to seeing the Khan family slowly cleaning up, to Goose eating several pieces of furniture, to the family judging Kamala as the cause of all of this, to Monica and Fury then arriving, to settling down, to providing Kamala with top secret classified information regarding Sword and Saber for no reason at all, to explaining that they each have light-based powers, which is as useless as it sounds in terms of understanding anything. Like, Monica describing her power as seeing light is hilarious.
Aunt Carol, Captain Marvel also has light-based powers.
Did you say Aunt Carol?
Stop trying to convince me she would refer to her as Aunt Plank. It's never gonna work. Anyway, Kamala, brain trust that she is, tries to show off her powers despite everyone here having figured out that at least using the powers is the base requirement for what causes the teleporting. And so she switches with Plank.
I could totally show you.
Fucking fantastic that in all the time they spent here, they didn't say the most obvious thing. Obviously being, do not use your powers until we figure out what is happening. But oh well, Kamala is now in the Kree ship having replaced Plank. The film doesn't show us what that looks like, of course, because why would it? And had Monica and Kamala not used their powers whatsoever, there's a good chance Plank would have stopped Darth Ben there and then and saved Tarnax. Don't worry, nobody will think about this. At least not the writers. In any case, Plank arrives while seemingly flying, so I guess we just have to hope Kamala is okay and that she didn't trade with Plank while she was in space, or just rather high up.
Nah, it'll be fine.
These are things that, of course, all of the characters should be concerned with, especially since Fury and Monica know Plank was on a hostile spaceship in the middle of cosmic nowhere. To be honest, it's something Kamala knew and should likely have mentioned. In any case, we spend the next 2 minutes having an awkward, calm reunion, despite the clear and present danger they all know Kamala the Kid is in. Plank even calls Monica Lieutenant Trouble, the nickname she had for her in the previous film.
When they were handing out kids, they gave her the toughest one, Lieutenant Trouble. It is so good to see you, Lieutenant Trouble.
Man, how fucking disrespectful. This woman abandoned you and your family for some 30 fucking years, not even bothering to get updates from Fury, and then presents the testicular audacity to use a nickname for you when she's finally forced to see you just because this movie finally happened. She doesn't use your actual name and rank, a name and rank she is more than aware of, especially when you are now a critical member of the very same life-saving, galaxy-oriented organization she helped jumpstart with your dead mother, whom she also abandoned. Absolute meta cunt.
I like that this scene emotionally grounds them all before this wild adventure.
Sometimes I am baffled by the artist's view on their own work. This is absolutely not an emotionally grounding moment in the story. Everything is high emotion and up in the air. We've just had the reunion of 2 characters that have incredible baggage and abandonment issues to sort out, on top of Monica explaining her powers to Plank for the first time ever. We have Kamala realizing her biggest hero is actively switching with her and has met her family. She's also now connected to Sword, which is a huge part of her dream of being an Avenger. All of this on top of recently nearly dying and teleporting all over the galaxy and figuring out what anything means while Kamala is now missing, galactically. How the fuck you gonna call this emotionally grounding? Look, it's fine, everyone has opinions. It's just that some are better.
So what's new?
Where's my sister?
Kamala's family are finally allowed by the script to ask where she is, and Monica explains the situation, which means Plank finally asks the important question of, holy shit, why didn't you guys tell me I just switched my place with some teenage girl? She could be dying. We have to save her. Oh, right, wrong timeline again. No, Plank decides at this moment to ask,
When did you get powers?
That kid could be dead, you dumb fucking lizard. The question of how did Monica get powers couldn't be more irrelevant to the drama at hand, and it should obviously have been answered by Fury as much as years ago. It really goes to show how little of a shit Plank gives about Monica. In any case, the rules get explained, and Plank makes the only smart decision in this film. She starts activating her powers again and again in the hopes that she will sync up with Kamala and they will switch. That makes sense. Let me be fucking clear. This
Girl, where were you?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm trying to switch.
makes sense. But then she gets annoyed after trying this for about 3 seconds and so decides to fly to Tarnax herself through space. She's going to fly through space using her powers, whether jump pointing or not, which wouldn't exactly be advisable right now, all the way to a distant planet in another system entirely. Meaning she understood with perfect clarity that using her powers has the chance of switching herself with a teenager, and she is now trying to travel through space using her powers. Meaning I can only conclude one thing. Plank is trying to kill Kamala. Like, seriously, what the fuck are you doing?
You want me to be like, basically be a plank all day?
Au contraire, my flat, elongated, and rectangular timber with parallel faces. You are a plank. And now you're a psychopathic plank. Though we knew that already. She knows how this works. She even banked on how it works, only to try and kill the kid, unless she's truly even stupider than Darth Ben, the fucking oxygen burglar. Do you think Plank ever gets jealous when comparing herself to a potato? So obviously we get one of the worst results. Plank switches with Kamala as she's exiting Earth, meaning Kamala is now falling to her death. You know, come to think of it, that's actually one of the better results, since the vast majority of the possibilities would have Kamala being roasted, radiated, and frozen while decompressed in space. So maybe we should count this as extremely lucky. In any case, as this kid is falling to her death, Fury makes a few jokes, generating the cringe parade you saw in the trailer.
Hey, Black Girl Magic!
Shut up, you nescient cockacidal banana fuck. Did you guys know this was apparently his improv, by the way?
Oh, these are all ad-libs from Sam Jackson, by the way. Use Your Core, Black Girl Magic.
That's infinitely disappointing, as is his calm demeanor despite a teenage girl having been forced by the truant brain power of Plank to fall to her death, with only Monica Rambeau to save her by flying, something she cannot do. On top of that, as if surprising to anyone, Plank does nothing to help. She doesn't even care that she just dropped a kid to her death. Both Monica and Kamala use their powers throughout this scene without switching, meaning Plank absolutely must not be using hers. And as the scene progresses, Fury doesn't try to organize anything outside of...
You gotta fly! They fly now!
And then you have Kamala's family, who don't do much panicking or attempting to grab mattresses, pillows, spread out, form a blanket trampoline. You don't even see an attempt to stand below in a sacrificial moment to save their daughter from the fall. Not a thing. Then, of course, there's the fact that they established the powers usage at the same time trades their places.
Whenever they use their powers at the same time, they switch places.
Yeah, I said that. Only we see that as Monica is beginning to fly, Plank would still be flying, meaning they should be switching back. On top of that, Kamala uses her power to create a platform while Monica is flying, and they don't switch. Good stuff, lads.
It can get confusing at times, so you have to kind of concentrate. Oh, who switched with who?
Not exactly brain surgery, is it?
So they switch with Plank right before they hit the ground. This saves them, only as they've shown us before, momentum carries through the exchange. What we should be seeing is a slab of tangled flesh on the floor of the Kree ship. Darth Ben would be staring down Captain Marvel, actually this time. They're exchanging this, that, and the other with each other. And then Captain Marvel disappears, and what does appear is so quick, it's just a slap of flesh and blood into the floor. Darth Ben would be like, what the fuck? And all the other men would be like, oh.
They're like, what is it? What is that? What have they done? Are they? Is this like the thing? Are they gonna turn it? What's happening? What does it do? And it's like, I don't know. They'll just panic and run away.
Because Monica and Kamala end up on the ship surrounded by Kree soldiers, and then Darth Ben shows up like 10 seconds later. So I guess Carol was about to confront all of them and then switched because she was using her powers?
Yeah, she went to laser one of them, I guess, because she'd completely forgotten about the other people, about the whole situation.
On top of that, who knows what the fuck Plank was doing this whole time that didn't involve her powers? When it came to interactions on that ship, she was immediately fighting the first guy she bumped into, yet now she's been doing nothing for ages? How? Why? Well, she was off screen the whole time, so we don't have to answer that shit. Had she been fighting this whole time, the film would have been over. Again. In any case, now that they've arrived, Monica says...
Okay, no powers. No powers. Just...
Meanwhile, Plank has begun her flight from Earth to Tarnax again, something that won't take her long because she can travel at the speed of light, which is actually slow as fuck in the grand scheme of the galaxy. But who cares? She's on her way to Tarnax, and at the same time, the movie clearly shows Monica using her seeing light power, as she described it, so shouldn't they be switching?
I was like, who cares about continuity?
This is especially fucking stupid after Monica said that the two of them should absolutely not use their powers, which, by the way, they should absolutely want to use their powers in order to switch Plank into play. As far as they know, it would mean saving Kamala, the teenage girl, from being stuck dying on this alien ship. She could have been teleported back safe at home. Regardless, it gets worse, as Manbun explains that the singular bangle is unstable but functional for their purposes, and you remember that big bad villain over there wants both bangles, and Kamala has the other one with her right now. Darth Ben just standing there with the bangle on doesn't realize the second one is 2 meters away because Kamala rolled her sleeve down. Do they want to ask a single question? No? Okay. So Darth Ben tries to kill them, and very likely would have been successful if not for Plank arriving at the exact needed second. We then get another switcheroo fight and see Kamala ported in at the wrong moment and takes an accuser hammer to what looks like the face. It's fine, she's not dead or anything, and the others don't really give a shit, so whatever. What's incredibly annoying about all of this is that Plank has super strength. She can easily just punch these guys without forcing herself to switch positions through using her powers, and thus not endanger her friends, but she fucks this up over and over again. It's also unreal that Plank flew to Tarnax in seconds, even with jump points, something we've never seen without a ship. She truly can travel at absolutely crazy speeds when she wants to. Monica and Plank chase Darth Ben, who just jumped off the ship and onto the planet. They really do just fly away, forgetting Kamala even exists, leaving her behind. Heroes. Didn't you just establish that whenever any 2 or 3 of them use their powers at the same time, they switch?
Whenever they use their powers at the same time, they switch places.
Yeah, I just said, why aren't they switching now? They are both flying away, for fuck's sake.
It can get confusing at times, so you have to kind of concentrate on, who switched with who? Silence!
Upon arriving at the Skrull settlement, in which they once again show Plank and Monica using their powers at the same fucking time, they manage to catch a big ol' speech from the big bad boss lady, and man, this girl was not even trying to act. She was just fucking bored.
What was funny was the big speech that Darth Ben gives. Her delivery is really embarrassing. And she's just like, you know, you have betrayed the Kree.
Once again, the Skrull have betrayed the Kree.
And because of that, I shall destroy you.
It's also so hard to take her seriously with the stupid Roblox shoulders. What the fuck were they thinking? It's like parts of her failed to render. She's only just loaded in on Unreal Engine 3. In any case, Darth Ben opens a portal from Tarnax to Hala that begins to suck the air out.
Commence Operation Vacuum Suck.
No, I am not fucking kidding.
Suck.
So what is the solution our heroes have come up with?
She's gone from suck to blow. What?
No, they're not doing that. That would be too clever. You see, Plank doesn't take out Darth Ben while she set that up, or as she's escaping to prevent her from doing it again, or to force her to close the portal. She just watches her do it, lets her get away, and tells the birthday boy that the Skrulls should probably leave. To which he bafflingly says,
We have nowhere to go.
Motherfucker. These goblin rejects have spaceships, and apparently they are happy to asphyxiate because they don't know exactly which planet they're going to next. Clearly ignoring plenty of obvious options, including the simple idea that you could temporarily relocate to the other side of the planet because this event really is only hitting a small area and it'll take a while before the atmosphere is entirely sucked up. Fucking hell, what am I even writing here? It's just fascinating that he won't even try to save his people from death, even temporarily. Instead, he would see them all die because he doesn't understand basic geography. He's the kind of person you can't insult because you'd have to explain it every time. Like if I said he was a slinky, you know, only good for pushing down the stairs. Anyway, like I said, things get super weird because Darth Ben has now opened a portal so that Hala can steal the air from Tarnax. Meaning air is being exchanged from Hala. No air is coming from Hala back to Tarnax? Like, it's just suck. Suck! You gotta give some room to science fiction for this. As in, fine, I guess you're taking a planet's atmosphere and dropping it into your own atmosphere. That makes sense. Wait, didn't we need to remove the tainted air or clean it? We can't just add clean air to poison air. That's gonna circulate and become fucking useless, isn't it? And didn't this only happen because you stupid fucks poisoned your own planet's air, cut off your own nose to spite your face sort of shit? I guess you thought you could kill your enemies by wiping out their source of oxygen without affecting your own? Or did the big computer make air breathable? Who knows? They don't say. So ignoring that, the portal starts sucking up the surrounding ships. Not the people, of course, because that makes sense. It only takes the much heavier spaceships with thrusters pushing them in the opposite fucking direction. And what happens to those ships, I wonder? Do they get sucked through Hala, and then I guess they can still just get away since they'd be in one piece and the Kree think this was a peace tour? I guess we'll never know. Now, Plank goes off and tries to pull ships away from the opening while telling Kamala not to use her powers.
Get back to the ship and don't use your powers. But I can help. Now.
It bugs me to no end that Kamala doesn't seem to understand why it's very important that she doesn't do anything that leads to using powers. Plank is absolutely correct here. If Kamala switches now, it could mean the death of the people Plank is trying to save, or the death of Kamala by ending up in a position she's not capable of dealing with. The more she stays in this scenario, rather than the ship, the more likely she's going to have to use her powers to stay alive. So anyway, Kamala uses her powers. Now, to be fair, she uses them to save some people, which really does a good job of generating conflict in theory, though the Skrulls she saved just sort of cowered when they could easily have saved themselves by walking away. On top of that, they still absolutely do not make strong use of the potential here. For instance, the choices Plank makes to save people could be undermined by the choices Kamala makes to save other people. Their collective choices need to have a single voice, or more people could die rather than less. The scene could reflect their collective choices requiring a single voice, or more people could die. That sounds interesting. It's not what happens, though. In actuality, Kamala uses her powers and switches with Plank, who then saves the people that Kamala was trying to save and switches back before Kamala gets splattered and we move on. We get no consequences for what could have been and was likely to be an extremely catastrophic decision. Many moviegoers may very well be amazed by the spectacle, but fuck me. You think about it for 5 seconds, and had the timing been off in any way for any of those moves, the Skrulls would have died along with Kamala. But whatever, moving on. The sky is just about falling, the buildings are crumbling, and Plank says we gotta go.
No, how could Kamala now? We need to save who we can.
Which is about as heavy as this film will ever be willing to get. They even have Plank teleport Kamala out from saving people by utilizing the switch.
No!
Something could be there, certainly for character through action, but the film kinda just drops it. Not only in that instance, but plenty in the past already, and plenty in the future to come. What begins to get exponentially worse every second is that they do not return to that one area of Tarnax after ferrying people over to the safe side of the planet. Instead, they wallow in space. There are many Skrulls left trying to escape, and not our team of heroes nor Birthday Boy care to do or say anything about it. And then this happens.
It was a ruse.
If it were, your intervention failed. We don't need your help anymore.
So that's a wild fucking thing to say to the person who just rescued what remains of your whole race. I hate Plank as much as the next rational collection of cells, but fuck me. You gotta be a Malaysian toilet ghost to say she isn't someone you need help from anymore when you were the one who fell for an apparently very fake peace treaty and only survived it because of her. And as if that wasn't enough, there is a war between humans and Skrulls on Earth right now, meaning this has an extra layer of retarded slathered all over it. But okay, he doesn't need your help, so what happens next?
I called a friend. She can find a safe place for you. Is that okay?
We have no choice.
So then, in the absolute essence of the word, you need Plank's help. I can't believe this fucking vomit womble saying Plank's intervention ruined the peace deal when Darth Ben was obviously the actual reason it went to shit while being cartoonishly evil.
You have betrayed the crew.
To then accept her help after saying, oh, I don't need your help. Birthday boy be telling birthday lies. Anyway, who's the friend and what's the refuge?
Thank you again.
Always.
Oh dear, the story just developed shart cancer. A bit of history for you.
Every time you were promoted inside S.H.I.E.L.D., we did that.
Secret Invasion, a story where Skrulls hate humankind because Fury and Plank gave them nowhere to call home despite a deal to do so starting as early as the events of the first movie they appeared in, is being contradicted here just a little bit.
Every terror attack you prevented, we did that. We fed you more dirt and intel than you could have uncovered on your own in a lifetime.
The deal, as stated, was that in exchange for a home, Fury would apparently take full advantage of the Skrulls' abilities in the form of conducting dangerous and complex spy missions for him to simply take the credit for.
Every enemy you sabotaged and ally you leveraged with dirt no one else in the world had access to, we did that.
Now, according to the show, he made his own career, the one we are so very familiar with, seem impressive when in actuality he was a crappy pencil pusher who stole an entire species' achievements for his own.
You didn't start ascending the ranks until me and 19 of my people signed on as your invisible spy network. Your life got a hell of a lot more charmed once I came into it.
Unfortunately, I am not lying. According to Secret Invasion, Fury is a complete fraud.
The least you can do is not rewrite history. Oh, that's fucking rich.
On top of that, by the way, Fury apparently conducted an operation with the Skrulls involving the collection of everyone's blood from the battlefield in Avengers Endgame. He did this in order to create a fucking magical potion that spawned Daenerys Draxarm, the most powerful individual in the MCU. The point being, if you're a fan of the MCU, of Marvel Comics, of stories, or of linear existence, then don't watch Secret Invasion.
It wasn't made for him.
The funny thing, of course, outside of all the other contradictions, is that it was indeed Avengers Endgame that established New Asgard, a new home for those not of Earth that have lost their homes in the war with Thanos. A perfect place for the Skrulls, at least in theory, and that's now where Birthday Boy and his party are going. Apparently, this was simply not fucking available in Secret Invasion, despite Valkyrie having just said,
Always.
There is, however, a more likely option, that being the writers didn't even remember it existed.
It can get confusing at times.
Well, at this point, I think we can conclude they didn't give a shit.
I was like, who cares about continuity?
It's actually incredibly difficult to tell if we're supposed to think this or Secret Invasion happened first. What we can see, however, is that neither product knew of the other's existence, or rather they couldn't have given less of a shit about each other. Oh, Valkyrie and Plank are best friends now. They met off-screen and blossomed their relationship off-screen, and now she pops up to simply say,
You can stand tall without standing alone.
And on top of that, she solves the Skrull problem entirely. You see, we've got things to do, so that's that, I suppose. And this quote, by the way, is absolutely on theme, but more so on what we lovingly refer to here as the intended theme. We will indeed get to the mess that is the through line in this film eventually. So, the Skrulls use the Bifrost to escape and live happily ever after. Which, can Valkyrie even use the Bifrost on her own? And, what about all the other Skrulls still suffering on Tarnax? They aren't all dead. You can now easily save them. I don't know. What I do know, however, is that there will be no addressing of the toxic shitberg that Plank is responsible for, including, but not limited to, the deaths of Talos, Maria Hill, and, well, everything that happened in Secret Invasion, the acidic rectal sleeve of Disney TV shows.
I have found a way to return Hala to glory.
We are now moving on to a scene where we get more context on what Plank did after saying this.
I'm coming to end it. The war, the lies, all of it.
From Darth Ben's account and the memories of Plank, we see that she blasted onto the scene and destroyed the Supreme Intelligence while proclaiming that it's a great big lie. This caused a civil war that ultimately destroyed Hala's sun, water, and air. No, I still don't know how. Darth Ben's plan is to steal those three from other places. The air, of course, having been stolen from Tarnax already. Manbun says that if she tries to reignite the sun without the second bangle, she'll die from the sheer power.
If my life is the cost, so be it.
We will find the other in time, Super.
There is no more time.
There is actually plenty of time. Not simply because you have the ability to move your people to another planet via opening and closing portals, but you've also lasted fucking ages here without air, water, and sun. Somehow. In any case, if trying to reignite Hala's sun with a single bangle kills her, then so be it. We shall keep all of that in mind.
I was going to come back. There was people that needed me.
We needed you, Carol.
Well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of shitty writing. You guys remember this?
Where the hell have you been all this time?
There are a lot of other planets in the universe, and unfortunately, they didn't have you guys.
Oh, how the times have changed. Now we're allowed to criticize Plank for being a selfish asshole.
I'm really sorry for the way I spoke to you. Thank you.
Well, that's disappointing. You were actually right the one time you apologize for what falls out of your mouth. Kamala then surmises that the bangle is what allows Darth Ben to open portals because it felt weird when the portal was opened. I mean, it did allow her to travel through time, so, you know, not really any limit on what these things can do. Yes, Kamala did indeed travel through time in her own show and made her own timeline happen. Shut up, we're not talking about it.
What is a quantum band?
A myth.
A fucking myth?
I thought it was a myth.
Then how did it get discovered so easily by Darth Ben? Monica then points out that it's insane for Kamala and Darth Ben to bump into each other considering they both have one of the two quantum bands that created all of the jump points in all of the universe. But Kamala explains it.
What you seek is seeking you. It's inscribed on the bangle.
For those who didn't see the show, Kamala is referring to her great-grandmother casting a spell on the bangle with her Jinn magic after traveling through dimensions to meet the love of her life to make sure the bangle would be drawn to her great-granddaughter in the future, who has now been summoned to the past to ensure her grandmother is safe on the train to allow her granddaughter, being Kamala, to get the bangle. So there you go. Makes sense. It's absolutely not the writing equivalent of an octopus trying to build ceiling fans out of cheese and a gun. No, sir. The MCU, continuing to meet my expectations. Speaking of which, Monica decides that she somehow has any clue how this works and claims that one bangle wouldn't normally be enough to open a portal. However, with the hammer, it is. A hammer that looks like Ronan's, even has the purple glow, only that glow was from the Power Stone that has now been reduced to atoms. Not really sure how any of this makes any sense. And if you thought hammer was a lame way to refer to this thing, Plank provides us an alternative.
Or space hammer thingy.
It's called the universal weapon.
Yes, that's its name. The universal weapon.
Okay, so the Cosmorod / universal weapon / you know, Ronan's hammer, whatever.
Oh, I see. It's just another thing you didn't give a shit about, so why choose it?
When you read the comics, like, a bunch of people have this. And to me, it's a symbol of power.
Who'da thunk? A powerful weapon is a symbol of power. So the girls then have a slumber party where they all jump into each other's memories with that weird scroll tech from the first film.
I've been using it to regain the memories that the Kree took from me.
Still.
Damn, Monica, I agree. Plank abandons everyone in favor of trying to recollect memories long lost to her. Pretty lame, innit, with everyone dying around her? I'm glad the movies are finally able to call her out for it, though I never expected it to be this one. In any case, let's begin Memory Store 2.0 because why the hell not? Laziness is a given in these movies.
And remember to come home.
Your mom, she died, honey. No.
So the device traps all three of them in traumatic memories of Maria Rambeau's final moments and the events of the blip. They relive the trauma suffered by Monica and caused by Plank, reminding everyone that Plank did indeed abandon the people she loves. It's also kind of funny that Kamala just has to sit there and watch her hero be shit. Could definitely add to a potential arc, but never mind. This, by the way, is pretty significant. Monica lost everything and had to re-watch it because Plank is too stupid to use the technology properly or to simply not have Monica use it at all. Regardless, considering the huge amount of emotional baggage at the end, there's a lot to sort out. So they hug, and then there's no more conflict. Again. The girls then explain that the jump points are like fracking. The more you create, the more you destroy the whole system. Which is interesting, being that by their logic, careful and controlled amounts of jump points, or as they refer to, fracking, in the right places affords the world an incredibly invaluable resource that everyone uses, needs, and supports the creation of. What did the writers mean by this? We gotta find Darth Ben's next target, so what did we learn?
Those coordinates. Can you read that?
Yes, the Magellanic Galaxy.
Alright, narrowed it down to a galaxy, which is terrible in terms of getting an actual destination, so what else we got? Could it be that Darth Ben wants to invade previously Kree-controlled planets?
At one point, the Kree colonized 25% of the galaxy, so...
Wow, well then, anything else to go on?
The Kree Civil War basically bankrupted Hala of its natural resources. The air is barely breathable. They're suffering from a drought.
The resource issue had nothing to do with the Supreme Intelligence, just the Civil War, meaning the people of Hala are solely responsible for destroying their own resources. Strange and seemingly impossible when it comes to their sun. It is concluded that Darth Ben will be hunting for water now. It must be water, and therefore the planet must be Aladna, because Aladna has a lot of water.
Aladna. Oceans cover 99.63% of the planet.
Plank is correct, of course, which is fucking wild.
Reminder, galaxies are huge. The Milky Way has over 100 billion stars.
Yeah, says you.
Just... well, yeah, that's true. I mean, I've not gone and counted them myself individually, so...
Imagine Darth Ben was going for the sun next, to perhaps save Hala from freezing over, changing their target completely. Imagine she had targeted one of the other thousands of planets with sufficient water supplies in the galaxy. Well, I guess our heroes would be shit out of luck. But no, they are absolutely right, and we're off on another adventure. The funny part is that they could have concluded that wherever Darth Ben goes, she will open a portal to Hala. That means if they go to Hala, they will be able to immediately go through the portal to help the people that are under attack and possibly stop Darth Ben. This would also throw on a ticking clock from the get-go, and it would force Plank to look on Hala with her new team and see what she is the cause of. Plenty of potential, way less contrivance, and it rids us of this terrible exposition scene as well as Memory Store 2.0, but never mind. Off they go.
Kamala! You are not going on any space adventures.
Oh yeah, obviously they deliver Kamala, the child, back to her parents before leaving to fight the crazy murderous monster Minecraft lady. Like, of course, right? Well, I actually checked the scene like 3 times, and all I can conclude is that the 3-way connection means they need Kamala until it's sorted, and the mum sort of gives up complaining about the whole thing.
Your daughter will have to stay aboard my ship until we can get to the bottom of it.
We need Kamala.
This is absolutely fucking nuts and out of character. First, Plank and Monica would tell Kamala to go home and to never use her powers so they never have to be zapped to another part of the universe. Second, they would take the bangle. They would study it at Saber since it apparently has the power to open jump points and might be the only way to close the ones that Darth Ben has carelessly created. Not to mention that the bangle falling into Darth Ben's hands would be the absolute worst thing possible right now. As far as our heroes know anyway. If you did all of this, the kid would be safe and you don't have to deal with swapping with someone who would most likely die in the situations they keep ending up in. But no, we've got a movie to do, so fuck solving writing problems. Seriously though, if Monica and Kamala stayed in Saber and didn't use their powers, we could get this done easily. More on that in a moment.
Monica will take care of her.
We will, and we will make sure she gets back home in one piece.
I like how Fury says Monica will take care of Kamala because he knew saying Plank would is an absolute fucking lie. Also, what the fuck are the Khan family doing on the top secret Saber special spatial specialization space station? How exactly are they needed to find a genocidal space Karen? Well, you see, Fury says they insisted, so they just had to come on board.
Really, Fury?
They insisted.
Fucking hell, he's not even a person anymore. He's just a pissed-on blueprint. No dignity, critical thought, or backbone. Just a cowardly pile of billions of worthless micro-pussies approximating a human being. Oh, and then we have a scene where the cat starts to lick itself with its tentacles. They show this to us a few times, actually.
I mean, what does a flirkin look like when it's grooming?
Exactly.
I'm glad you got to answer that in this hundreds of millions of dollars project. So anyway, the team experiment with their power switching, and we see it's entirely inconsistent. They trade momentum and the switching of their bodies' positions at seemingly random, meaning we are left to enjoy this happy meal of nobodies, playing mentally challenged skip rope for a few minutes while desperately drawing as much soul out of the Beastie Boys as possible. It's painful, and I'm now starting to play clips in my head of what the fuck Marvel used to be in order to feel remotely sane that I ever enjoyed this pungulated swamp. Don't you just hate it when the filmmakers forget what the characters are currently feeling and doing because they have spectacle to override it? This kind of travel is not only normal to Planck, it's something Monica is more than familiar with. What's supposed to be on their minds right now is how much Planck abandoned the people of Earth, and specifically the family she promised to care for. On top of that, they are heading to Aladna in order to protect it from annihilation. They have no reason to assume they are anything other than late. Darth Ben had a huge head start. The place may very well be destroyed. Unfortunately, no one is behaving as though any of what I just said is true.
I'm kind of famous here.
Well, you do know you're famous everywhere, right?
So they reach Aladna, and presumably the summit of Planck's ego, only for the Aladnians to give a full and warm welcome. It's one of them singing things, you know, a musical. We get a whole bunch of singing, as well as evidence that Monica no longer knows what it's like to be human as she tries to greet this little girl.
Hi, small child.
What the fuck, dude?
Hi, small child.
She also does a little old woman jiggle to the singing, and in seconds she's apparently exhausted. I'm not even clear on how that works, considering she's a pure energy person or whatever, but she's also like mid-30s. Work on your cardio, woman. So they approach the royal banquet, or whatever, and Planck, being the wife of the king for legal reasons, or something, needs to sing and dance in a brand new outfit, in order to explain the whole planet might be destroyed soon.
Give me a chance here before it gets
Slowly the wolf inside a walls.
It's good that she still has the symbol of the Kree on the outfit, by the way. No, we haven't forgotten any of that. They back and forth about Darth Ben and how Planck isn't there very much and whether Planck could take her on solo, and you might just fucking die of cringe if not for remembering that these people are on the brink of planetary annihilation. That's the whole reason these lobotomized anal slugs are here. Darth Ben is about to invade and steal these people's water. That's what you believe. Stop singing and fucking save this whole civilization of innocent people. No, we can't do that. We've got to get new fucking outfits. New, shitty-looking, overly designed, garish, dull-as-dish fuckery outfits for no reason at all. You look like a gaggle of children if they tried to create Halloween costumes for the express purpose of cosplaying the quantum retards. Why aren't you trying to save people? Where are the reinforcements? Where are the heroes of Earth? Why aren't you evacuating the civilians? What the hell is wrong with all of you people? Fuck. Whomever's responsible for this, your bloodline is weak.
It is stunning, gorgeous. Everybody sings. You want to live on Aladna.
No, I don't think I will.
Entertain her as long as you possibly can. Monica and I will get the jump on her, and we'll get the bangle.
I really cannot understate how horrible this outfit for Planck is, by the way, and I'm a guy. Fashion to me is like hygiene to Movie Bob.
I love Carol's new super suit because I don't love 3/4 sleeves for super suits, but I thought it was important that she goes from 3/4 to long in this movie.
I'm so very glad this significant and ugly-ass change was brought on by your desire to have full sleeves. What the fuck? So Darth Ben arrives. I have no idea what took her so long, considering our team is simply trying to keep up with her, yet they were ahead significantly. Regardless, the plan for the heroes is to stay out of sight until Monica and Plank can steal the bangle. Kamala is supposed to stay away completely. It would have been super useful to simply leave her on some distant space station or even her home, but oh well. Seriously, I can't believe she still uses that symbol as her icon.
Something that she can work in, something that's comfortable, that really shows her brand.
Fucking hell, her brand. Anyway, I have a question. Why wouldn't Plank just destroy every last Kree unit from person to ship that invades and threatens destruction on this planet within split seconds of their arrival? Then, when Darth Ben is alone, you can beat her in a 2-on-1. They start doing this later anyway. Seems like we're only doing the retarded plan because we don't want the movie to end yet. This also applies to Darth Ben, by the way. Her plan is to make the prince kneel while hopefully having him accept the idea that she's going to steal his oceans, like some fucking idiot cartoon. If he refuses, she's going to hit him with her hammer.
Not a great plan.
No, Tony, no, not a great plan, not even a little bit. So why not, instead, just land at the other end of the planet and open the portal in the ocean? This means it will flow as fast as possible, you will not immediately alert the enemy forces, they will take a decent amount of time to even get to you, and thus you can make a quick and easy escape while leaving the portal active. Oh, also, as it stands, we're adding even more air into the air of Hala, comboing up 3 planets worth of atmosphere onto 1.
Suck!
Seems retarded, but whatever. Look at that arrival. They are sitting ducks. Plank could have destroyed them all in seconds. Anyway, the prince then refuses Darth Ben, of course. Everyone attacks, and Darth Ben just blasts Monica and Plank away with her hammer. Win retarded prizes, I guess. Look at this hero run from Monica, man. It's so bad. I can't, like, it's just, oh, dearie me, let's go.
There's a certain way your body has to look when you run.
How is this so effective against Plank? The only thing we've seen come close to doing this kind of damage is the Power Stone, and this hammer definitely doesn't have that. Also, Monica can go completely incorporeal. She cannot be affected unless she chooses to be. I guess she's just bad at her one job. I also have no idea how blasting Plank away does anything, since she can move up to the speed of light, and so she would return pretty much instantly. Everyone and everything is retarded. Kamala almost dies because she's not supposed to use her powers, nor is she meant to be in this fight, yet for some reason she's right in the middle of a war. Apparently all of the characters planned everything wrong, did everything wrong, and now have countless people suffer for it while taking zero responsibility for any of it.
Women. Huh?
Lucky for her, the prince says she can use her scarf in case she needs to defend herself, and so Kamala Khan begins to defeat Kree soldiers with a scarf. The movie does not provide any context for it being a great piece of tech or magic. It's just a fucking scarf. Why did they let them make this movie? Or be trusted with basic shapes? So Monica says she's found Darth Ben, despite there being no reason to have lost her in the first place. She spent the last few minutes slowly walking from where she was last seen, and Monica can fly. I swear to God, this film can't remember the shit it put in place even seconds ago. Monica can go fully incorporeal. There is no attack Darth Ben should be able to land. It even cuts to Plank flying through the air, attacking random Kree forces like some demon clown, as though she's completely forgotten the only fucking goal she claimed to have. Prevent Darth Ben from personally destroying this planet. Monica is using her powers throughout the fight while Plank is flying the whole time. So why aren't they switching? Just another fuck-up on top of the circus of fuck-ups this warning label of a movie is spewing out as each second slithers by.
It can get confusing at times.
Stop. The switching rules aren't even complicated, for fuck's sake.
Don't do this.
An interesting proposition. What will the super evil, very bad, no nuance cartoon say in response?
You're too late. You have betrayed the Kree.
I suppose the funny thing is, you're too late isn't even remotely true. Nor is it something I think Darth Ben would say when faced with her own personal wooden Satan. Though what interests me more is how she just watched Plank replace down to the fucking atoms another person she was fighting right in front of her and isn't fazed by it whatsoever. Universally unprecedented bullshit is happening between these three people, and nobody really gives a fuck. Kamala then takes out 4 different guys with a scarf. I don't know how else I can summarize that. Certified cinema. She even just casually gets shot in the face with alien plasma. Because fuck it at this point, right? Kamala eventually decides to use her powers, even though using them could interrupt the other heroes from saving individuals, all the way up to saving the entire planet. Like, seriously, her using her powers right now could mean plunging Aladna and future planets into far more peril based solely on the idea that Darth Ben could gain access to the second bangle. She could at the very least find out where it is, or be allowed to complete her water-sucking plan, which is exactly what happens. Well done to everyone involved. It's been a ride.
Where did you get that?
My grandma, she sent it to me in the mail.
Fucking hell, she's not even lying. It's like to make the film, the writers took a mammoth laxative and out came an inspiration black hole flavored with inept participation and madness. And lots of shit. The MCU is a miserable, reanimated fucking carcass, just praying to be dropped into its coffin. So you get this moment where Plank is thrown around by Darth Ben because, as they figured out earlier, her powers are drawn in by the bangle. So why the fuck are you feeding it all to her, you dumb flat length of timber? Plank at base stats almost beat Thanos. Just one punch to the face and this wretched she-clown would be dead, but no, let's just watch your powers drain into her. Monica and Plank then fail to prevent Darth Ben from opening up the portal that will now steal this planet's water incredibly slowly.
Still get it done.
You can go incorporeal, you fucking dolt. Any other choice in that whole sequence would have been better. I'm not gonna go as far as saying I hate you, but I would unplug your life support if it meant charging my phone. Plank then plows her way through Kree ships, like sliding an inbred goblin through very melted rectal cream, reminding us that she could have been doing this since the beginning of the movie. Meanwhile, Monica takes off with Kamala in Plank's ship because Darth Ben now knows about the second bangle, and so they must escape. I don't know how this wasn't considered an eventuality by having the child here, but whatever. Also, there's a set of explosions where Plank kills a shit ton of people, and Kamala says this.
Oh, Captain, my captain.
Yes, of course I used that clip twice. It's fucking perfect. This line is cinematic cave fungus, and being forced to hear it is an interstellar war crime. They even show Monica taking psychic damage. This shit needs to be deleted. It's not too late, Marvel. Regardless, here's the big moment, a scene that I'll explain the stakes of because the movie does a piss-poor job of getting it across. Monica and Kamala want to abandon the people of Aladna because they don't want the bad guy to get the bangle, which could, in theory, lead to far greater destruction. This wouldn't be a problem if the child had stayed the fuck home. They're going to try and leave, but Plank, in a rare show of humanity, believes they should stay and help the people of Aladna. A significant switch of motivations since the last planet we visited, and it's gonna be exciting to see if the writers even noticed.
Can't let this happen again.
It already has.
I can do this.
And you'll kill us trying.
You know, it's great we get to go through this in slow motion here on the channel. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the bad guy being aware of the bangle doesn't mean we give up entirely. I think it's odd and broken that both of these typically very caring characters have now written off the planet and the people of Aladna as their oceans are getting slurpied. Plank says she can lose the fighters that are currently chasing them, presumably to then save Aladna. It's not exactly clear. Regardless, Monica doesn't think they can lose them because there's as many as 20 following them. Oh my goodness, could you imagine? 20! Look, I don't know why the discussion is over whether they can lose them when Plank could easily kill them all in under 5 seconds, as we've seen her do many times, including in this very fucking scene. I don't know why we can't have the kid leave for Plank and Monica to save the day, as Kamala should never have been here in the first place. Hell, have both of them leave so Plank can mop up. Monica says she's at risk of dying, which is just absolutely not true at all. This whole scene is a character massacre. Everyone is saying and doing nonsense bullshit to get us to the next thing, resulting in hollow characters being bent, broken, and crushed into the story that must be told. The bad guys even fire about 10 missiles with lock-on and they all miss. It's a fucking joke, but it has to come to an end somehow.
Jump point activated.
So Kamala opens a jump point right in front of the ship and they all get transported to not Wheatfield Planet. Yet another option for the piss cunt Skrulls. How the fuck does this ship work where the pilot has no control over the damn jump point activation? Why was the child the one to activate it? Did someone teach her how to use a Kree starship, assuming that's what this even is? Would it not make way more sense for Monica, the space tech operator, to have done this? Why was Planck not able to swerve to avoid the jump point? She's supposed to be the top-notch amazing pilot, right? Also, with what we've been shown, it seems you can create jump points with your ship at preference. Otherwise, why would Planck have been heading directly into one when that's the last thing she wants, and why would one be there of all places? In which case, to make this make more sense, let's assume you can simply create them wherever you want. That would change just about everything. Not only is the search for the bangles fucking redundant, since Darth Ben can apparently make jump points anywhere, anytime, jump points would be weaponized by everyone. They would be in every war ever intergalactically fought. All because these filmmaking fuckwits had to indulge. They just had to dig too greedily and too deep into that cursed cookie jar.
We left Aladdin to fend for themselves. Darth Ben was gonna get my bangle, so I made a tough call, like you did on Tarnak. Don't try to be like me.
It's fucking crazy to me that they will now absolutely abandon those on Aladdin to have this discussion about how they abandoned those on Aladdin as opposed to dropping off Monica and Kamala while Planck returns to save Aladdin. Planck didn't even need to be in the ship when it left, but because this is written by three-wheeled geriatric clown beef, we can rule these options out. Kamala even blames herself because she thinks that the intertwining of their abilities means they can't just leave her at home, but the thing is, that's not only possible, it's their best move. Being separated was their strongest strategy from the get-go, but the movie refuses to understand that.
I'm the reason why the Civil War started in the first place. I'm the reason why they couldn't breathe the air. That's how I got the name Annihilator.
So Planck explains that she fucked up Hala, which is true but changes nothing about the current situation. And until she fixes Hala, she couldn't come home. The sheer shame of having failed so miserably meant she couldn't come back and see Monica, the girl who is also the daughter of the most important friend in her life and possibly the person who needed her the most. 'Cause, you know, there's a planet really far away that Planck failed to fix. That's the reason they give for Captain fucking Idiot Face failing to visit Earth and to speak to Monica. Only she did come to Earth once to drop off Tony and to do the Thanos shit at the beginning of Endgame, and then she popped in to stop Gooba Thanos. Then she stayed for the funeral, but she didn't visit the girl who desperately needed her help and had been dusted, meaning she was returning alone to an entirely unknown world. And all of this because Planck fucked up somewhere else, a place Monica didn't care about and had no connection to? As retcons go, that makes absolutely no sense at all. Personally, I'm rather perturbed you would so brazenly assassinate Planck. She has become quite precious to me, though perhaps it is simply her character. She does seem to abandon people all the time.
I never expected you to be the mighty Captain Marvel. I just wanted you, not.
Imagine there was like a super easy quick fix for Hala that Planck could have done in the past 30 years. A fix that would mean she wouldn't need to abandon her people on Hala, Earth, and Monica personally. Wouldn't that kind of fix be hilarious and awkward and insane? And why am I saying this? No reason, not a reason at all whatsoever.
I'm really glad that you're here now.
It's kind of amazing that this insane bit of logic is revealed and Monica is like, oh, well, that makes sense then, moving on. I mean, fucking hell, we can't even have the slightest of interesting conflict.
I am sorry for coming on too strong at the beginning. I did not give you a lot of space to be a real person.
There you go, that arc is done too. No development, no support, it's simply done. Fuck you. Planck then concludes Darth Ben is going to steal the Earth's sun. Yes, that's a real sentence and I question most of my life decisions. decisions.
She's targeting the people that I care about and stealing resources from every place I call home.
We have to warn Fury.
The logic here is as strong as it always is, so why not? Over on the Saber station, pulses from the Fleamy jump points are now damaging their systems. Not enough to damage the whole thing fully, but enough to knock out the space elevator and half the escape pods. Portions of the station are now spontaneously combusting, with the Khan family putting those fires out. They are acting as Saber station's firefighters, and also there are weird alien eggs everywhere. The eggs are being laid by Goose and hatch into a horde of baby flurkins that then eat the crew and escape the station on the few remaining escape pods. Please do not attempt to adjust your screen. I am simply trying to sit in the abyss for but a moment because I just said things are spontaneously combusting. The Khans are Saber Station's firefighters. They will herd the Flurkins to eat the station's personnel, allowing them to escape Darth Ben's plan to kidnap the sun. Marvel? What happened to you, man? What drug even is this? You understand this is the exact magnitude of cringe that can empower even the paralyzed or comatose to rise from their respective limitations and take that final courageous leap out the fucking window. Why do you hate making money? Do you just want to see what it would look like to watch a billion-dollar franchise burn? I'd figure you're familiar at this point. I'd also say you're as dumb as a fucking rock, but at least those keep doors open. How does this work for, like, mass? How are the people in these cats still alive and not mush? Why is there no one else to put out a fire? Why can't Earth send ships up to collect people?
Lost contact with Earth. We're officially at abandoned ship phase.
You have no means of communication with Earth at all? Surely you have a protocol in place that means Earth would send a ship at that point. Look, even Plankentards arrive. Why can't they fit the personnel into their ship and do runs back and forth to Earth while alerting humanity of the issue? We know she can support a shit ton of people, and she can travel very fast. Not to mention that she can contact Earth now through her ship. Why is this so ridiculously retarded? The soundtrack decided to play Memory while everyone is screaming, and Fury, Monica, Kamala, and Plank all encourage everyone to be eaten.
Probably my proudest achievement in directing.
Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. It's so fucking bad, and absolutely another notch in the belt of explaining the box office, which we can chat about later. You have no idea if they'll be digested. You can't actually order the Flurkins to do shit, but what the fuck ever. Fury then gets into his little pod with the cats and the family, and they all fuck around and have fun as the station is about to be destroyed and the sun is on the cusp of being burgled. The only thing of meaning to be mined from this scene is Kamala's mother telling her daughter that she is clearly needed for a higher purpose, but that she will always be with her. It's just about the most basic and wholesome thing the film could achieve, so there's that. Though it does seem like a pretty retarded move that Kamala would be sent to fight Darth Ben when wearing the remaining bangle that the old Benster wants to complete her goals with. The very same bangle that they abandoned a planet full of innocent people to prevent Darth Ben from getting. Oh well, we're in the third act now. Things are different. But don't fret, the writers gave us a reason. You see, Kamala explains that they need both bangles to close the portals that Darth Ben opens. This means she has to be there. Except she doesn't. She should instead wait for Plank and Monica to beat Darth Ben and take the bangle from her to then signal Kamala to join them. A rather simple strategy that all of these characters would think to do, since they are risking the bangle falling into the absolute wrong hands. I just love how the movie has to break its spine over and over again in order to facilitate the absolutely wild fucking script choices we keep seeing. That, or for every minute that passes, there's another 2 minutes that were supposed to be here but got deleted. So everyone fucks off to their respective missions. Fury almost gets sucked into a portal and lost forever in his little ship, but he luckily boops a fleam, and somehow that means they all get sent to Earth and make it out just fine. I say boops a fleam because I absolutely have no fucking clue what even happened.
You did it, Mr. Fury. I didn't do anything.
This may be one of the more overt Deus Ex Machinas because, man, they might have died horribly. They should have died horribly, but they just don't. I, too, often solve my writing problems by simply taking a violent shit. He also crash lands in New York right next to the Statue of fucking Liberty because of course he did. Fucking everything happens there. You know, this entire insane strategy was because they couldn't fit everyone into the escape pods. But why is there no ship or fleet of ships on Earth that could come and save them on Saber? We see those kinds of ships in the first movie. Planck steals one. This was tech from as much as 30 years ago. Imagine what they have now. Then, of course, there's Doctor Strange and his portals. You'd think that any one sorcerer, including fucking Ned, could open one up and easily save everyone. Are you not in contact with Bene Gesserit Cabbage Crotch? Did nobody trade phone numbers at Tony's funeral? Fuck it, no time. The sun is turning off. It is apparently actively fucking fading. No, I'm not kidding. We are shown that viewed from Earth, the sun is fading. It takes around 8 minutes for the sun's light to reach Earth, which means whatever we see of the sun from Earth is 8 minutes delayed, and the sucking of the sun has only just started. You do begin to wonder just how much damage all of this will be doing, and considering the other side of that portal is Hala, I would argue just about every form of physics we know is getting a sewer-flavored gravy enema. Anyway, the next thing that happens is a boss fight, and we kick it off with Planck saying this.
It's over, Darben.
You are an actress, Bree. I know you can do it. I've seen you do it. Stop lying to me.
I know that you would do anything to protect Hala. This will be the end of the Kree. It will be the end of everything.
You might imagine this argument would sway the big, bad, brain-deprived Blumpkin, but no. She simply responds,
You took from me. I'm simply repaying a favor. Now, give me the bat.
Which, like, she's just one of those bad guys. They don't have a character, or values, or motivations beyond one simple cave-level description. To be fair, the heroes are written like that, too.
You're forgetting something.
What? Me?
I have to say, it's infinitely funny that Monica yells at Darth Ben and she doesn't even blink. She truly could not give less of a fuck about your entire existence. In any case, generic boss battle ensues and everyone takes a beating. The film just casually forgetting again that Kamala is a normal-ass person. Also, the switching here is actually way more in sync than it has any right to be.
And the switching becomes so intuitive.
Exactly. And that's what was super important.
Well, no. The switching is essentially the opposite of intuitive. All three of these ladies will be reacting to an unpredictable foe in both attack and defense at different times with little awareness of where everyone is and whether they are ready. You cannot get that perfect, even with extensive training, and you certainly won't be prepared for it by having practiced skipping rope together. In any case, after some biff-baffing back and forth, some rubble falls on Darth Ben and stabs her. Unlucky, I guess. This makes her basically concede her loss. I will say it's an awkward to watch 1v3 when she's significantly less powerful than the three. She loses, obviously, and everyone just stands around like, yeah, we did it. We knew this could happen throughout the whole film. We were just waiting for Planck to do it. Or rather, we were waiting for the plot to allow her to do it. In any case, she starts crying and talks about how Planck is a mean old Mr. Fish and Chips.
Mean old Mr. Fish and Chips said the Polo won't win the race tomorrow.
She's going from homicidal maniac who wants to destroy the solar system to, oh, you're so mean. And this works, by the way. The three fucking stooges agree to work with her now to restart Hala's sun as long as we don't cost Earth its own. How is it they know they can even do that?
You can use your powers to save Hala.
What the fuck are you talking about?
The reaction in your sun's core has slowed. It needs an incredible amount of energy to jumpstart it, and that's what you have.
Where in the fresh fucking fish-fingered hell are you getting this information?
Never done anything like that before.
In the last couple of days, I have done a lot of things I have never done before. You got this.
Oh, okay. That's about all the reasoning one can expect from top-shelf cerebral rat bowel. You can do it because you can do it. Because I did some stuff I didn't think I could do. So go do it. Darth Ben appears to agree, but somehow manages to backstab the team. Did you see that shit? Ben manages to pick up her hammer and fire a laser at Kamala. Kamala pops up a shield in defense, and Planck tries to attack Ben. This causes a switch that Ben then capitalizes on and takes Kamala hostage. But what was Monica doing the whole time? Had she used her powers, the whole thing would have fucked up. The switching would have involved all three of them, and whatever she chose to do would likely have a significant effect, but it also fucks up if Plank had just decided to punch her. You know, not use her powers?
Try anything and I'll kill her faster than you can move.
That is categorically unfucking true. We see it blatantly at the end of her first cinematic disease. But we've forgotten so much of what we established at this point that the MCU being a shared universe is nothing but a restriction. And so, Darth Ben gets the second bangle and begins to use them both in order to achieve her goal. And her goal is... Wait, she's already completing her goal. Didn't she already open up all the portals that she needed? Isn't the Hala sun sucking up the sun? You know what? I got it. Manbun earlier said that without both bangles, the power is unstable. Meaning that if Darth Ben gets both, she could open as many portals as she wants, wherever she wants, and they won't be unstable. She will essentially be what she was throughout the film, but much more powerful and completely stable. So that's something, I guess. That's scary. She can kind of do anything. A god among Bens. And so she puts them on and she dies. She blows up and dies. She puts on the bangles that she was trying to get to stabilize her power throughout the movie and blows up and dies. That's it for the story of Darth Ben. No, I'm not fucking joking. It's unfathomably hilarious, and clearly the result of the people who made this thing having no clue how to end the story and so interpreted a fucking script footnote as the story. The bad guy gets exactly what she wants, but not what she needs, and truly defeats herself. And this was how they portrayed that. So, with our characters out in space a little bit there, Kamala brings them back in with her stretchy hand grab thing power. You know, something she does all the time with the bangle. Wait, didn't she lose the bangle? How the fuck you using your powers without the bangle?
We're gonna need those. We're gonna need those.
Do the bangles not even matter anymore? Is this like a mistake? Ah, fuck it, we'll talk about it later. Monica says the sun jump point is now a big old tear in time and space. The only thing to do is to channel the power of Kamala and Plank into her, and then she can repair the tear. How does she know this?
If we want to unpunch it, yeah.
No fucking clue. She doesn't explain how she could possibly know this would work at all. But that's just her role in this movie, telling everyone how everything works even though she should have no idea. Before that power transfer begins, however, they casually decide Kamala should put on the second bangle. Apparently, it is necessary for this whole thing, even though no one should know anything about how any of this works. Also, just a small factoid, the last being that put them both on, a being stronger than Kamala, mind you, got violently disintegrated. At this point, it becomes clear that Plank is spending most of the movie desperately trying to kill Monica and Kamala without looking like she is, the passing of this bangle being just another reference to add to the set. But there is one more.
It has to be now.
God, that dopey costume is so fuck ugly. What the hell were they thinking? Anyway, Monica just decides that she can only close the tear from the side that isn't on our end. This means she will be trapped in a different dimension. Why does she have to do it that way? I have no idea, and nothing is said to confirm or contradict it. It simply works that way.
Higher, further, faster.
Higher, further, faster.
Oh, good God, shut the fuck up. So Monica gets close to sealing it up fully to then say she has to stay on the other side. She even makes it clear that she knew this was going to happen before she left to do it, which isn't really the normal thing to have your hero shout out to everyone while doing the sacrifice.
I can't leave! I have to finish the job. I always knew I would have to stay.
It kinda comes across as though she wants everyone to know how selfless she is before she's gone. By comparison, if you remember, Avengers has Tony being told by Cap that it's a one-way trip and he chooses to push through. Anyway, Plank is very, very sad and angry about this, and so goes out there to try and save Monica. Perhaps even to simply join her on the other side, but gosh darn it, she's just too late. The portal closes. You have to understand, it was as much as a mile away, and Plank there, oof, she was booking it. She was at like 30 miles per hour. She was really trying to save Monica. She didn't at all intend for her to be trapped on the other side, being the one person who was forever judgmental of and proof of Plank's abandonments and her insane ego-driven antics. It wouldn't at all be a preference for Plank that Monica is forever stuck there, would it? Yeah, there you go. Hug it out. I guess Monica is gone. Plank tried everything she could. Or is Plank aware of someone who might just be able to open a portal directly to Monica no matter what dimension she's in, and she's decided not to contact her or to save Monica. But who cares? We're wrapping up now. We see everyone is fine and safe and the threat has ended. No Avengers were called and the Flurkins now live among the Earth, I suppose. I'm sure that won't cause any significant invasive ecological disasters. In any case, Fury asks what happened, and Kamala says,
We lost Monica. She got stuck on the other side.
Stuck on the other side. Alright, so with her accounted for, Fury asks about Carol.
And Carol.
As though being told that one of your most powerful soldier scientist superheroes being stuck on the other side is somehow something he understands whatsoever. Dumb motherfucker doesn't even ask whether this brick is talking about heaven, different dimensions, or that Monica is just insane now. He doesn't even care, even though he knows someone who could absolutely save her. To make things even funnier, Plank just pisses off Hala and reignites their sun. Yep, that's something she could have just done free of charge for decades. She could have, at any time, saved them from asphyxiating in a frozen drought. But no, she's too stupid and selfish.
1, 2, 3.
We don't even know if they have definitively separated their powers yet, by the way.
What about the switching?
Her powers aren't entangled anymore.
Oh.
You cannot know that. There's no reason to say Plank will absolutely not switch with Kamala while inside a sun. Certainly not because a little girl said so. Then again, maybe this is just another attempt from Plank to kill her teammates. Also, just to be clear, the heat, the gravitational pressure of the sun is capable of fusing hydrogen, yet Plank is able to survive flying in and out of one while apparently powering it up. Just feels like she's a tad OP, but what do I know? They then end the scene on a hero shot of Plank. Because better late than never. I'm glad Aladna have the clothing material to withstand the power of the sun. Ugh, please end.
The planets are expected to make a full recovery, and a team of scientists are being sent to Hala to try and help their people.
The planet that was drained of its atmosphere, and the planet that was 99.63% water being drained of water are making a full recovery, are they? Hala's gonna be fixed up by scientists, yeah? It would be nice if you solve the damn writing problems you create. This ain't a fucking fairy tale. You don't happily ever after me when showing this level of cartoon villainy. Hala, Tarnax, and Aladna are all fucked. But who cares, right? Not the story. We're off. We would be lucky to hear the names of those planets ever again. This might be the stupidest throwaway line in the history of cinema. Thank you. Or fuck you, either way. So Plank and Kamala are now going to wait for Monica. They have no clue how to help her, despite the contacts they have, so fuck it, I guess. Makes you wonder where she might be. I wish we could have kept wondering. We see Plank is wearing one of the bangles, by the way. That's just happening now. There's nothing to explain it, no reason, no deleted scene or comment. Not even the director knows what the fuck is going on there.
Carol is wearing one of the bangles in the scene.
Yeah, she is indeed.
Do you know where that goes?
I have no idea.
I love storytelling. We get a mid-credits scene, of course. I'll talk about that later, but first, the end credits scene. We see Monica wake up in what looks like a hospital bed. Apparently, she got knocked out after sealing the rift, and she was found by a superhero called Binary.
What happened?
We were hoping you could tell us.
There are mentions of Charles, and a big old gross CGI Kelsey Grammer beast waddles about because the X-Men are coming, and it's gonna be, it's gonna be... It ends there, it's over, it's fucking dead, it's gone. The movie, I mean, but also Marvel.
I'm really into the multiverse. In fact, I tried to put even more multiverse into the movie.
No!
No! No!
Ugh, let's talk about this.
Do you guys know about the title thing in China?
Wait, what
title thing? Like
China?
the movie
Because-
title? Like it wasn't called The Marvels or something?
No, it's called the Captain Marvel 2.
Disney's Marvel's MCU has once again managed to secure the financial incineration gold fucking medal, promptly earning and maintaining its first place record in the Guinness Book of World Retards. I think it's more than sunk in for almost everyone at this point. The audience has not exactly been happy with each addition to this cinematic train wreck.
Off the backboard.
Please don't throw garbage at me.
The diseased and downright departed Disney rat has once again tried to convince the world that looking directly into its multiple hemorrhoid overdosing purulent cavities is a worthwhile endeavor, and I'm here to tell you, however well packaged, it's still full of blood and shit. Let's not mince words. Disney bad, and the Marvels, well, for the sake of these videos, I do end up looking through multiple sources to explain and back the notion that an artistic process led us here. Behind the scenes featurettes, interviews, commentary tracks, TV show presentations, gag reels, etc. They all help to figure out just what the fuck happened, but I will say, the people doing the interviews these days seem less and less human as the years go by. Let me show you what I mean.
Iman, you play Miss Marvel in this movie, and she's a teenager who loves comics and is learning to...
Ah yes, the fun pastime of reading comic while water drink and breathing the oxygens.
The Marvels is the #1 movie in America and is the latest chapter in the Marvel Universe.
Whoopi, did you just say universe?
Universe. You yourself also grew up a huge Marvel fan, especially the Miss Marvel comic series.
What was that, Miss Marvo?
I cannot even fathom the full circle-ness of all of this.
I try not to.
The full circle... Okay, point is, you get such limited opportunities to discover insight, not just because of how weird interviewers are, but also because everything is so corporate. But we do get some slime falling between the sofa pillows. The kind I'm currently referring to comes in the form of deleted scenes. The first being that of Kamala exploring Plank's ship and being met with a call from Valkyrie.
She got married again. We're not married, that would be... I'm single.
It's become rather painfully obvious that Valkyrie is not a character. She's just too awesome and cool and aloof and powerful and kind of just vibing and all that. But fuck me, woman, you are talking to a kid. Why would Plank have married a kid? Though to be fair, it does get significantly worse. As an alarm is raised, Valkyrie recommends Kamala, the teenage girl, quote, strap on. I mean strap in.
You might want to strap in. Huh?
Yeah, that certainly made the rounds. Weird fucking decision from everyone involved. So weird, in fact, that the people who wrote the subtitles for the disc release had to change it to trip on, I mean trip in.
You might want to strap in. Huh?
Sure lads, that'll fix it. The second deleted scene has Kamala asking for a scarf that can be a weapon. That slightly better explains what the fuck was happening in this scene. We also get Monica learning about the energy needed to close the tear. On top of that, as though we don't have enough for a 30-second scene, we have the King of Aladna saying he refuses to evacuate and instead wants to fight Darth Ben. It's almost unbelievable, but all of these elements in just 30 seconds actually make the film more coherent. I suppose they cut it for time, or, well, could be anything really, given the abomination we ended up with.
Scarf weapon would be cool.
Iman trying desperately to make that line work, poor girl.
Then with it I could duel.
The third deleted scene is entirely useless, with the fourth one showing the man bun chasing Kamala until he desperately tries to kill her.
Do it, kill her.
There's apparently an eclipse happening here too. As said before, I can't even imagine the sheer amount of material cut from this nightmare. Also, does this remind anyone of The Matrix? Why? Why was this shit so awful?
What is an MCU movie that folks might not expect to have influenced this movie heavily?
Ooh, Iron Man 3.
Oh, I see. That makes a lot of sense. Iron Man 3 video coming eventually to a YouTube near you. So let's get started then. What was this? Well, when it comes to world building, we are now beset by every hallmark of screenwriting horrors the shadow of a cinematic universe typically provides, along with some new additions. We have the usual lack of interaction, acknowledgement, or even continuation of anything from any other Marvel product. There's nothing to say of the world outside of the one being generated in their own movie, despite it being a capstone to several TV shows and movies. At least it was supposed to be. There is no world to react to anything significant that happens here. There's still no word on the Skrull War, the blip aftermath. None of it matters, nobody cares. You get the small stuff that's expected, like every single planet is just good to breathe and exist on, but then you get some particular brands of cringe, like the people who speak only in song as a language. But it's not a language, they're singing English. If they speak song, can they use any language and be understood? Because it's the song that's important, the song that's the language? How come Monica and Kamala understand what's happening? Do they speak song? Or are they just lucky it's in English? And I've spent too much time talking about this already. How is it that the people of Hala were completely starved of not only air, but water and sunlight, but were also surviving just fine? How did the Supreme Intelligence play into all of that?
It was so funny having to explain the Supreme Intelligence again, because it's you take for granted what you see, when you see her destroying it in the movie, but it's always funny to be talk about Skynet, basically, you know?
Okay, but you guys didn't explain anything about it at all, though. We have no idea what the Supreme Intelligence did, or what it truly wanted, or what it means for it to be destroyed, but I guess it's nice you think it's been explained, and comparing it to Skynet just goes to show the cultural power Terminator has, despite the recent entries in that abomination of a franchise as well. Terminator videos coming eventually to a YouTube near you. To get back to Hala, how is dumping these resources on them not going to cause major ecological disasters? How haven't they already suffered apocalyptic ones? How do they not see that gaining the power to use a portal device should probably prompt you to fucking leave and find a better planet instead of stealing pieces of other ones, destroying them all, possibly including your own? I understand this is your home planet, but you can work on saving it while living on other planets, you fucking idiots. Don't worry about it though, despite all odds, the planets make a complete recovery. Every single one. Thanks to science? I don't fucking know. The switching power was absolutely fucked from the get-go. I don't see how the universe distinguishes between them using it and not using it, especially when we know what makes Planck and Monica powerful is part of their genetic makeup. Why does flight only count sometimes, and how the fuck is there an on-off function to a person simply being the being they are genetically? And to be clear, the film had no idea what distinguished any of it either. It's actually one of the more significant foundations the story is built on, and was hyper inconsistent from the get-go. We're rarely given a reason for anyone to be using their powers when they're off-screen in very calm and uneventful situations. They do and don't switch at what seems to be random, and oftentimes they are switched in ways they can deal with, as opposed to very likely scenarios in which at least one of them would be very dead. The solution to the whole problem was randomly assumed at one point in the story, and from there, nothing else is said or done about it. And to be perfectly honest, they don't really do a single fun fucking thing with the entire premise anyway.
Imagine if someone switched with Tony mid-snap.
It just it teleports fucking Ned into the suit. He's just like,
oh no! Oh my goodness, no!
I imagine the creators of this wacky, fun, swapping adventure were waiting for it to be over as much as the audience was. However, in their case, staring at the VFX costs ticking up was the nightmare. Power scaling is all as fucked as you would imagine. You have no idea what it means for any of these people to fight each other, and you don't know why anyone wins or loses when they do. There's a point where Planck gets her powers sucked and she's smashed by the hammer, but it doesn't really do anything permanent. Wait a minute, that's how Wanda killed Blank. How am I ever gonna know if this is supposed to do anything? None of this information really matters. It's just up to the film at the end to tell me what happened. By gum, isn't that just the most fun you can have when following a story? Someone did the math. A rough estimate of what Planck would experience by being within an active sun, ignoring the considerable radiation and heat would be the equivalent of 10,133.84 kilotons of TNT's worth of pressure. This makes her astronomically powerful. Not that we didn't know that already. The casing in which this story sits is on fire, and it was ashes to begin with. So I can't imagine we can rely on that for substance, meaning we can now look to the plot. What did we get this time? Bad guy hurts planets, good guys fail over and over again, and then bad guy kills themselves. For the stretches, we get Plank being in all the right places at the right time to let any of this happen. We also get Darth Ben narrowly avoiding being involved in the swapping by complete chance. Kamala regularly avoids death through fate being a protective son of a bitch. The correct picking of Aladna was insane luck. Our team being ahead of the bad guys kept happening somehow despite being almost impossible. Just about everything with the Flurkins. And then of course the luck of those bangles killing Darth Ben instead of making her an unstoppable god. We got holes in Monica's corporeal nature, everyone speaking and breathing in space, the space suit not teleporting in order to prevent Kamala from dying. Hala should have been a ball of fucking ice. Portals sucking thrusting ships up into the sky, but not the people. The scarf was more effective at clearing out Randys than a Mossberg 500. The seemingly random creation of jump points on Aladna that breaks the whole movie. And then the location and awareness of the bangle in the first place. This is at the backdrop of a scene where many innocent people with no understanding of the situation are fed to Lovecraftian monsters in order to escape a ship that should have about 1 million other means of escape when they can't control or trust this option whatsoever. And hell, how fucking lucky that they even have it as an option.
There is a line that says, "Attention crew, please stop running and let the kittens eat you." That's a legit line in the movie.
Which fast tracks us to theme, because character might take a while. I think it's safe to say this film is trying to promote the concept of teamwork and the nature of standing strong not being in conflict with standing together as stated by the drunken perverted slave driver. These concepts are mentioned maybe once or twice. There's an obvious team element to the story. It's not a complicated idea. I would even say it's an idea that most get behind, only as is Marvel's modus operandi, the concept is entirely broken, and in actuality the opposite is promoted by the story. Had Kamala been told to stay home and relinquish her bangle, she would very likely be safe along with her family. Plank could then chase Darth Ben with ease while Saber study the bangle and potentially close portals with it. At the very least, they could learn more about these anomalies. Plank and Monica could then agree to split up, with Monica working at Saber to help out while agreeing to never use her powers. Plank, if needs be, would absolutely annihilate, as is her Monica, the entire Kree faction, to then perhaps learn through Monica that she can indeed save Hala by restarting their sun, an action she would do and does do entirely alone. The film could have been 20 minutes long at most had Plank just done all of this shit without a team, focusing on what makes her stand strong, which in this case is standing alone. An absolutely ass-backward exploration of the idea, unless I missed something. Perhaps an explanation of this idea straight from the director.
And I love how she operates in this scene and in this movie. You can stand tall without standing alone. That's, lesson.
How do you have nothing to say about the theme you wanted as a through line in your own fucking story? Ugh, let's talk about the other theme.
It's really exciting to see these three women come together and learn to be family.
They don't seem related.
Whatever you say, families are complicated.
For me, a big theme is chosen family and learning how to work as a team.
Alright, chosen family. The very normal experience that family is not necessarily blood, but those you choose to be in your life. It's not uncommon nor difficult to build a story on. You don't even have to move outside of the MCU to find examples. Guardians of the Galaxy absolutely made use of this theme. The team that came together through bizarre circumstances but stayed together through a sense of family. As for the Marvels, we have the same execution problem here as we did for the previous theme. Very few, if not zero, events in the story support the idea. Everything is categorically made worse by Planck being with Kamala and Monica. Had they remained separated, a significant amount of suffering would have been avoided. Monica would still be in this dimension, Tarnax, Aladna, and Hala would have been safe. Countless Kree soldiers convinced through lies to fight wars may never have been involved. Who knows how much more suffering could have been avoided? At the end, Monica isn't even a part of this family. She's gone. And then the remaining two have a significantly odd relationship, being that one is a 60-year-old selfish idiot and the other is a teenager who worships her. Is this the found family? The only meaningful and substantive family in this story is in fact the bloodline family. The Khans are the only characters who are most of the time allowed to show consistent affection for their loved ones. It's safe to say this story, in terms of its themes, is an absolute fucking mess.
I love the path you found with chosen family versus given family and born family. And all of these relationships, I think it was a really nice thing for people to see the complexity in sister-friend.
The complexity in sister-friend? These are the guys that get to control where hundreds of millions of dollars are spent when telling stories, by the way. It's doubly sad thinking about how much potential is lost by looking at basic team dynamics. The Marvels is a superhero team they decided to go with when not only do they have very limited characterization between the three, they have limited ways of bouncing off each other. Their powers do not allow them to sync up in interesting ways. It's the worst of all worlds. When aligning characters like Daredevil, Moon Knight, Blade, and Ghost Rider, the potential is endless for their individual values. The way they source their power and how they can combine or clash could be explosive. When looking at the first essential team-up the MCU did, we get the metal suit with missiles, lasers, and flight comboed with the super soldier sporting a reflective frisbee and a god of thunder commanding lightning. I'll even ignore Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye for now for the sake of simplicity. Not only do we see how they can get in each other's way, power each other up, and synchronize, we get characters that are so utterly distinct that they spend much of the time adding very different points of view to the same problem in an attempt to solve it, breaking apart due to their preconceived notions, and then uniting to make the best use of each other's strengths. When it comes to the Marvels, however, we have light beams and hitting people hard for powers that have barely any synchronicity despite a third-party application forcing synchronicity. That, on top of a complete lack of conflict or synchronicity to speak of when looking solely at their characters, despite that already having apparently been prepared for them ahead of this film. The truth is, the chemistry is utterly dead. It's empty. Not because it had to be, but because the writers couldn't make anything of this situation. Granted, making use of this team-up is like trying to build a house on sand during a storm and a flood while excessively shotting, but that doesn't change the fact that they utterly dropped the ball.
This movie is a tone setter, I think, for the MCU going forward in terms of how it does bring disparate characters together across space and time.
Oh, shut the fuck up. No, it doesn't. All three characters are from Earth. Monica barely has a personality other than, wah, you abandoned me. Planck is, well, she's a fucking plank for God's sake, and Kamala simply worships her. Meanwhile, the Avengers had Thor, who was an actual cosmic entity with 1,500 years of history regarding realms throughout existence. Cap was a super soldier who fought through a world war and ended up being thawed out in the future. Tony was a weapons manufacturing tech billionaire who decided to turn his money, efforts, and ideas onto solving problems he had a hand in fostering. The comparison feels insane here because it shows just how lacking in potential this matchup was compared to so many in this universe. There is some stuff about never letting your past prevent you from fixing your mistakes or getting in the way of living your life in the now, maybe? Don't destroy things as a response to conflict. Don't destroy things even if your stuff is destroyed. It's a tad incoherent because it's absolutely not the focus. Not that focusing on it would have saved it with this team. Ultimately, there's barely anything to work with. It's a shame, I guess, but not a surprise. Most people had no clue what the film was even about.
I saw the Marvels. There's a lot of people talking about this movie right now.
I'm not really going to talk about it in depth. All I'll say is that it's a short movie. It's a fairly breezy watch. I liked Iman Vellani quite a bit as Miss Marvel. I thought she was fantastic, although I don't really know what the movie's about. That's what I'll say.
So anyway,
thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video.
Shut up, you fucking bitch!
And be sure to download Hit It Rich and start your Wicked Slot adventure today.
Characters. Let's do it. We have the Skrull colony in terms of vaguely giving us some new people to possibly care about that also double as a window into the state of the Skrulls. But not only do we get nothing on them related to the events and repercussions of Secret Invasion, the basic element of them as characters being invested in their own survival is immediately subverted with their king's apparent interest in staying on a world that's about to kill them all despite a ship being ready to save them. He is also a cosmic cock to the person who saved him and his people. So, not much to make use of there. We do have Valkyrie. She delivers the theme line, just randomly airdropped in for the star power they apparently think Tessa Thompson has.
Put a ticket in, make her name it gay!
Well, wait, is she gay? The Marvels reportedly cut a line teasing Captain Marvel and Valkyrie's past relationship. Valkyrie's scene with Plank in the movie might have originally included the quote, "We work better as friends." I didn't even know these two had fucking met outside of the Endgame girls get it done scene. Anyway, we then have Kamala's family. They were mostly fine, still not really acting like human beings in a lot of high tension moments though. They were very much forced into the plotline, and at times, how much they would care about Kamala was crippled so the story could continue. The one human moment in the film goes to Kamala's mother, and it was still awkward all things considered. It's also dwarfed in terms of a thread by the absolute mess this whole thing is for character writing. Speaking of which, Darth Ben. Who is she?
Who is Darth Ben?
Yeah, no, I'm asking who she is, though.
Darth Ben is the very recent Suprema of the Kree Empire. She is a massive contradiction.
Oh, we're agreed there. She's after Plank for being a genocidal space clown when she may as well have wrote the book on the subject. She wants to save Hala and her people, but she's too stupid to move her people to a functional, inhabitable planet. She then steals what she needs from individual planets as opposed to using one for everything. Like there are absolutely bodies of water on Tarnax, and it obviously orbits a sun. Oh, wait. What did you mean by contradiction?
She's part rage, part hope, part science, part war.
Mate, you must be joking.
I think one of the most dangerous kinds of villain is a villain who has nothing left to lose.
What do you mean? She has Hala to lose. She has the people of Hala to lose, and her own life. All are brought up again and again. Hala and her people are on the edge of destruction, and she's desperate to prevent that, and she talks about how she's willing to sacrifice herself to complete the plan. Clearly, she values her own life, if not for the simple reason of trying to enact her plan. Have you seen this movie?
Darth Ben has a brain for science and a body for war.
A brain for what the fuck are you talking about?
I wanted the accusers to be blue, because in the comics, the blue Kree are seen as the best Kree.
What? Well, then why wasn't Darth Ben blue?
It's more interesting than just run-of-the-mill villain. It's someone who actually feels like they're right.
Okay, none of you are allowed to talk about the movie anymore. Darth Ben is a character motivated by having her life destroyed by what she sees Plank as, and ultimately what she becomes by trying to take revenge. A genocidal, ego-driven annihilator. Her plan is to save Hala from the damage dealt by Plank and the Civil War by draining resources from other planets. She does this by letting her presence be very known and by regularly explaining her plan, and then tries to attack places that directly relate to Plank in order to punish her. When you break this up, as a plan, it falls apart as though it's made of confetti and piss. The goals of saving Hala and punishing Plank absolutely do not need to be connected whatsoever, and doing both at the same time risks both of them failing. Had Darth Ben simply taken the sun, the water, and the atmosphere from one system that nobody is using in the galaxy, Hala would be safe in an instant. She could then open a portal to Aladna in the core of the Earth, absolutely annihilating them both and getting thorough revenge on Plank without her even knowing who did it. Unless, of course, she decided to take credit. But no, she's a dumb fuck, and she opens portals after delays, after warnings, and after letting everyone find out what her plans are while trying to fight Plank directly. And then there's the portrayal, absolutely worthlessly thin and cartoonish in the worst ways you can imagine, since cartoons can actually be pretty badass, let's be honest. She's got the dialogue akin to a retarded Emperor Palpatine, only without the subtlety.
You have betrayed the Kree.
What are you, Down syndrome?
She's purely evil, but... well, not really, but she's not interested in doing anything other than her ridiculous goal, but in the most backward-ass way possible, and dies because she was too stupid to live. As MCU villains go these days, she fits right in. Which takes us to Nick Fury, or what they want us to think is Nick Fury. After Secret Invasion, it's clear that character is as dead and gone as Talos. The fact is, he was bizarrely out of character. He told Plank nothing about the events of Secret Invasion, despite the fact that she was arguably more at fault for all the people who died during that series than he was. His Skrull wife person just disappeared. There's no recognition of the political situation on Earth whatsoever. He doesn't seem to take in any new information properly throughout the film, nor does he seem to care about the many lives at stake or those that are lost. He is cowardly, idiotic, and slow. He allows a civilian family onto a classified space station because they insisted. He also did nothing about Kamala's bangle despite her age, her experience, and its immense power. Nicholas J. Fury has been absolutely ruined. And it's a long time coming because he was still vaguely hanging on before these last two projects. Which brings us to the main three, starting with Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, whose history is no less convoluted than her co-stars.
They called her light manifestations, all of that. They called it the Noor, and that it comes from the Noor dimension, which is like a parallel dimension. This would be extra context to throw on top of this.
This makes things easier to understand.
So she's draining power from a different universe. What
the
do the
idea
people in that
dimension,
universe
bro.
Her lineage
that must be horrific on the other side.
The idea is that because her lineage is partially from a different dimension, but she's also from Earth. That's
so
how
she's killing her
like,
ancestors' universe.
Well, I don't know how. I don't know.
Why do you listen? We watched Miss Marvel. We didn't talk to Kevin Feige. Okay, we understand how this fucking shit works.
Just saying that if someone kept draining my power, I'd be like, hang on, this is a bit mean.
Most of Kamala's motive seems to be heroing to be accepted by Plank and the Avengers. Now, we don't even know what the Avengers look like at this point, nor do the writers. Nonetheless, that is her motive. A motive explored in Spider-Man Homecoming as potentially noxious and ultimately self-serving. Nothing like that is explored here. That's especially a shame, since she's a tad more ego-driven than Peter at his worst in the Home trilogy.
These bangles travel through space and time to find me. I was born for this.
Not only is it a fact of the universe, but Kamala believes she's the special one. She deserves the power of the bangles and gets to have it where no one else does. This is a shame because it's fertile ground for a villainous arc, but the writers clearly have no idea what's happening. Kamala could have been a girl in the right place at the right time to receive power, to then choose to do the right thing with that power. Instead, she's cosmically supposed to have and control the power, which is so much worse. The actress seems pretty swell. Iman Vellani appears to be a superfan, and it's always much more reassuring to have someone like that on the team, though I hope they can provide her something more substantive in future.
28 Marvel movies have been released. Can you name all of them in 1 minute? Okay. Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Iron Man Soldier, America Far From Home, No Way Home, Homecoming.
She actually tries in a limited time to name all of the currently released MCU films, and look what she forgets.
Miss Captain Marvel.
That is very funny, but don't worry, nobody remembers that film, except me. Errors in Kamala's characterization would include having no urgent concern for the people of Aladna when they arrive despite all of the information at hand. She is immediately convinced to leave those same people to their destruction out of fear Darth Ben might get the bangle, which is something they can easily prevent in multiple ways, yet it's not even remotely entertained. She is the one that forces their ultimate team decision, proving herself, in that moment, to be more cowardly than Plank. A flip on the prior act, only to be flipped once again in the next act, pushing that she must remain, she must put the universe in jeopardy since they need to bring the Bangles together. Something of a reason that doesn't at all dictate her presence in the fight itself. She could easily have stayed safe with the Bangle until it was over, making her entirely inconsistent, topping it all off with a statement that the Bangles work for her because they traveled through time and space to find her specifically, another Phase 4 character who has unwittingly been written with an ego dwarfing Jupiter. Also, sorry to remind you of this, but I want to talk about it again.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Now, outside of the fact that she said it, something has really clicked as to what's wrong with it. Whenever Kamala thinks about the hero that is Plank, it's always in reference to destroying something or working with her to kill some enemy. When she says, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," it's right after seeing Plank absolutely demolish several ships, with Kree inside who as of this moment consider Plank the person who killed their friends, family, and world. Imagine instead seeing Kamala say, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," after watching Plank put herself in danger to save people, or perhaps when she avoids suffering by doing or saying something clever and diplomatic, or when she decides to spare a big bad boss out of understanding part of their issue. What if she said it after Plank comforted someone who really needed it, praising her humanity instead of her destructive capabilities? It says so much about Kamala to praise Plank in those moments as opposed to any other. But oh well, just blow things up. That's what Kamala loves to see. A shame, really, because she clearly has potential. Perhaps we will see it in full someday.
Are we Avengers now?
Taking us to Monica Rambeau, a sort of interesting character, at least in the sense that she has an intermittent character history and an old lady run. We got some minutes of her childhood, then some minutes of her adult and human life to be zapped by self-affirming energy beams and converted into a jelly energy person, to then be chilling in space as a new superhero scientist person who learns to fly almost as casually as Plank did. She's very much a normal person woman for a lot of her interactions, but the focus of her character is shaved down to feeling abandoned by Plank. This felt very much thrown in randomly by prior content and not something that should have overshadowed, however small, substantive characterization. It comes across as something this film had to deal with rather than a story they wanted to tell. But don't take it from me, listen to the people who created her story talk about her.
With Monica, she's a character that's been around that people have seen, so it was a development of that.
They have no idea who she is or what her purpose in the story is. When it comes to plenty of the important moments in the plotline, she fails to properly care for those she is responsible for. She takes her job pretty far from seriously. She fails to operate in a heroic manner when it's called for in moments the story isn't interested in, like Aladna or Tarnax, and the many instances Kamala is in peril. And that's on top of strange decisions she has to make in order for plot points to move forward unaffected, like touching space magic flume light for no reason at all, or randomly deciding she can fly and then mastering it between scenes.
She needs to go and believe that she can go up and help save Kamala.
Why the fuck do you guys always make incredibly over-the-top insane power sets get unlocked by believing in it? Do you know how insane it is that we've had this many stupid-ass heroes in the MCU who've unlocked full-fledged flight from believing in themselves? Why is it not about developing, training, or learning? Why do you hate storytelling? And as if it wasn't bad enough, this is just an insanely difficult power set to come even close to understanding.
But how could she fly then?
How could she fly?
Because she's as light as light or something. I don't know. No, confused. And she didn't even know she could. Other people told her. Oh, no.
Oh, come on. I actually said, I think to Fringy, I was like, at least that was better than Captain Marvel learning to fly, which was literally off on no reference. At least Fury says, hey, fly. Like, where the hell did that even come from? I was like, you've got to fly. It's like, what do you mean I've got to like, you say this to fucking Wolverine? Like, you got to fly, Wolverine. Use your adamantium powers, fly.
When that was in the trailer, I was like, when it gets to the movie, that line will be explained. It's like, no.
No.
I still don't know what it's meant to mean.
Monica Rambeau barely has any character to speak of. This is baffling when she's had an entire movie and TV show to work with. Only the current disciplines in both storytelling and direction leave us with just a small flicker of an idea. She feels bad that Plank left her, but by the end they've hugged it out and that's it. Oh, and I guess she's hanging out with the X-Men now. Can't wait to see her future. Though all of these character breakdowns simply pale when discussing the big cheese, the Brianator, Captain Plankton herself. After 2 movies, guest spots, and many cameos, where does she seem to settle?
We see failure, like Carol's complete failure, and that Kamala sees it as well, so that she learns how hard this really is, and she learns that, yes, Carol's amazing, Captain Marvel's amazing, but she's also a human being.
Well, we can start there. She is fucking far from amazing.
I think it's an incredible metaphor with this, of learning how to be in a team, and also like the very clear example that like no one person can do it all. Like the world does not become a better place by one person, certainly not one lady. So it's like with that, you need all kinds of skill sets, all kinds of people with different viewpoints and different backgrounds in order to save the world.
Captain Marvel really can't be the thing standing between life and destruction. It takes all of us. And so this is our way of poetically telling that story about the importance of all of us working together.
To change the world can never just be on one person. It takes everybody to play their part, and that's a huge part of what this story is about. That this concept that she's holding this mantle, that she is, you know, the mighty Captain Marvel is too much to carry. And so you realize that you need a lot of different people with special skill sets to come in and help get the job done.
Every time I get the opportunity to play her, I grow.
I guess this is what we were supposed to take away from Plank's journey in this film. She learns she can't just save the world on her own, precisely the opposite of reality in this movie. That Monica and Kamala only ever get in her way, and that she could have saved the world easily on her own. In any case, her being at the beck and call of Fury damages the hell out of the world building, but also her character. She touches a floomp portal for no other reason than pretty, and she chooses to take a kid on an extremely dangerous mission. Everything she's responsible for in Secret Invasion, as well as the actions in this film, are unaddressed, including the many people she essentially killed by forgetting about them while exploring her own narcissism. She's made many visits to Earth to collect fucking rainbow crocs, popcorn and fidget spinners, but she's abandoned her people and those who love her to use memory tech to live inside her own head. This is priceless, by the way, and fascinating of Nia DaCosta to simply make true. Plank didn't even know Monica had powers. She abandoned Earth to almost every major world-ending event under the guise that she's simply too busy, which this film destroys as a potential. The Scrolls of Tarnax were failed by her significantly. After the destruction begins, she doesn't even have a response to the birthday boy saying they have nowhere to go, and she knows of many options. She has more than enough ability, time, and motive to fight for them and to save them, but simply gives up. And then you have Hala, the home of the Kree. She absolutely ruined their world down to every key resource, and then for 30 years decided to live in her own head. She allows Darth Ben to escape again and again and again. She very clearly abandoned Monica. She is a professional abandoner. She considers herself far beyond any other being and spends most of her time fostering worshippers on other planets or getting married. She's been shown to be incredibly petulant, ego-driven, and idiotic, or downright psychopathic in how she will try to force a switch with an innocent human girl while flying through space. She doesn't even seem to notice that people she supposedly cares about are forced to fight armies of Kree when they trade with her. She is a disaster, and she has more than earned her moniker.
She hates being called the Annihilator, right? And the first thing she does when she meets these Kree soldiers is murder all of them.
Yes, I was about to say, she kills all of them.
Well, she is Captain Marvel. She is Captain Marvel.
Mercy, if you want your name to change.
Well, no, she found a better way, Disparu. She'll just kill all the people that call her that.
She'll annihilate them.
She's just trying to get them to call her Murderella. She'll prefer that than Annihilate.
The relationship between Monica and Plank is healed about as fast as it's even brought up as a problem. The relationship between Kamala and Plank is that of, I worship you, and I guess I still do. We haven't seen anything of Plank's life as a galactic explorer, ambassador of cosmic cultures, histories, and wars, and you could never know from watching her that she's lived that life for as much as 30 years. They've also made it canon that Plank is a coward. She abandons these places not just because they offer her nothing in terms of an ego boost, but that in some cases she doesn't want to deal with the shame. And so, despite the power and experience of a cosmic god, she contrives excuses to avoid conflict. She will instead spend those 30 years on herself.
She can't just light blast something or someone and has to sit in her feelings.
No, not really. Not much introspection or sitting in this one at all, but a hell of a lot of blowing things up. It's fascinating just how much of this series happily bounces Plank from genocidal psychopath to cowardly Mr. fucking Bean in just a matter of minutes. There's such a very distinct difference between what we can now see of the character of Plank versus someone much more celebrated in the canon of the MCU that shares a rank, whether meaningfully or not. And this comes from Kelly Sue DeConnick, by the way. Quote, Plank falls down all the time, but she always gets back up. We say that about Captain America as well. But Captain America gets back up because it's the right thing to do. Carol gets back up because fuck you. End quote. I couldn't have said it better myself. One of the key fundamental aspects of creating and maintaining a character like Plank, like Captain fucking Marvel, is spite. She is a spiteful, self-centered woman who makes the vast majority of her decisions in the moment based on who she doesn't like and what she can take away from said person or culture. This gives her strength and motivation. And the funny thing is, that's not bad as a foundation for a story, but it wouldn't be the story of a hero. It wouldn't be the story of someone like Steve Rogers.
A good man.
Which brings me to the missed opportunities this film is absolutely a victim of, though that doesn't make it unique in the Disney circus. This could have been a film about the Kree Civil War, a desperate look at how a superhero with immense abilities tries to control a power struggle after releasing a civilization from an oppressive overlord having lied to them for as much as centuries, only to cause more and more damage until being brought to destruction. This could have been a film about Monica Rambeau learning to become a great asset to S.W.O.R.D. despite the loss of her mother and abandonment from a mother figure in her life. We could have watched her learn to use her newfound power while trying to reconcile how much less human it makes her and what that means when she's lost both of the people she considered her anchors to humanity, to hang on to what truly matters while making the spirit of her mother proud. This film could have been about Kamala Khan coming to understand that the heroes she saw in these people were so far beyond who they actually were that an entire new worldview takes hold. She could instead begin to see that taking inspiration from people like her mother, her family, and those in her life who actually care about her is where she was always sourcing her strength. She could then become the hero she saw in others, changing the world for the better. There could have been a conflict of principle and pragmatism in the way these heroes deal with a situation, but any of this is only tickled at in the best of cases. We barely saw a sliver of consistent conflict, nor any treatment of any situation or character with any respect or weight. With just a few tweaks, even at this stage, there is room for a coherent story to be told. Yes, even with Plank. If we can try to mold this into something meaningful for a moment, we can not only call her Carol, we can absolutely make this story about how she is perceived and what her actions, or lack thereof, have caused, not to mention how she sees herself and what she values. We would start with the idea that to explain almost all of her actions, a grim reality has to come to the surface. Carol Danvers doesn't consider Earth all that important in the grand scheme of the universe. This could very well have been brought on by witnessing the majesty of the wider universe, caring for and involving herself in so many other cultures, making Earth seem far less special than the average person might think. But at the same time, there could be more to it. As the tension rises between Monica and Carol, it can be said that she simply doesn't care all that much about Earth, that most of her memory is with Hala and the cosmos outside of Earth. We find that she barely considers herself of Earth. Carol has a life, you see, an existence that goes far beyond that of one planet or the people on it, shown in sharp contrast to Monica, who saw her mother as everything and Carol as the one who should have been there for her. We can run this alongside some more world-building pressures that change Carol's point of view, that she sees people claiming to care. People say she has adoring fans and appreciation from Earth governments. However, not only has her failure to protect Earth several times had a drastic effect on her reputation with many countries, her involvement with the Skrulls created a war, and the few personal relationships she had have been severely damaged. I would have people like Valkyrie display a strong disdain for Carol, a disgust for her rampant incompetence, her lack of effort, and her failures in diplomacy. Most admiration and compliance Carol commands is from fear, something we could have seen demonstrated on Tarnax and Aladna. The fact is, culturally speaking, she's had barely any effect on Earth. No one there really does like her, certainly not to the degree they love Captain America or Iron Man. Obviously, one person, being Kamala Khan, practically worships her, and she would be privy to all of these conversations. It would become clear that Carol prefers spending her time anywhere else because those places are less familiar with her failures. She had previously claimed she was far too busy taking care of the entire universe to help Earth when they needed her most, but now we know she spends a vast majority of her time floating around trying to reclaim memories of her own life. She has manipulated her political leverage to enjoy lavish vacations. She has used her power to marry while lording it over several planets throughout the galaxy. She brokers peace for the sake of being praised as a peacekeeper, a powerful, kind, and righteous god. Something that really started with Hala, a world that through a completely rewritten villain would tell us Carol came there with an iron fist. She ripped out the Supreme Intelligence despite all warning and destroyed everything, telling every citizen they are free to support her, to appreciate the freedom she has provided. A civil war inevitably breaks out between those who are and are not loyal to her, and in the process of trying to control this world, it is annihilated. A monument to her naive nature, her hubris, and her terrifying power. As the pieces fall into place and this history is revealed, Monica can go from calling her Aunt Carol lovingly until eventually calling her Captain Marvel derisively. It becomes very clear that Carol is not as selfless as she imagines herself to be, and Monica can begin to hit on the truth. Carol is picking and choosing which planets to save that best satisfy her ego. Earth is home to many of the most insane, universe-altering events all the time. Therefore, she should absolutely be spending more of her time there, treating it as her base, for example. Unfortunately, Earth considers her just another hero among many, and that's simply not as motivating as cultures who worship her. Perhaps we discover she knew she could save Hala all these decades, but chose not to because they hate her there. Darth Ben could then be the personification of the repercussions of Carol's flaws. And of course, she can say this is absurd. She has done so much for Earth, for this universe, more than Captain America or Iron Man or others could ever hope to do. She sacrificed her own humanity. She arrives when she's most needed, and she does nothing non-stop but try to help people, essentially beginning to think of her hero work as something the world owes her for. Miss Marvel can be the character to ground her into realizing what being a hero is supposed to mean, an idealistic view that is outright incompatible with who Carol has become. She was always careful with what battles she would pick. She would come in late and simply destroy an entire set of ships without consideration of what life would be affected whatsoever. She was in it for the thrills and hopefully to be adored afterward. She ripped Hala apart with no consideration for the people who lived there and had been lied to their whole lives. She abandoned them on the eruption of a civil war. She did nothing to make the world a better place after they lost their sun, their water, and their breathable air. She was there exclusively for revenge. She regularly takes extended breaks. She inspects only what relates to her own health and memory. She sings and dances with a culture that worships her, while sometimes looking in on the Skrull world that she's promised to protect, leading to the vast majority of them dying in a war with the humans she did nothing about and took no responsibility for, to then see that she does indeed facilitate events to have her fellow heroes die in order to maintain a stronger reputation and absorb more of the spotlight. I believe all of this is rather suitable storytelling to bring Carol to villain status with just a couple of narrative tweaks. That's horrendous, by the way, and shows just how fucked up the writing is. To get the audience to in any way support this character and her journey would require several full stories at this point. She is in desperate need of redemption and detail, and they almost start to write a story like that by accident. Kamala was perfect as a point-of-view character with a rose-tinted view of everything Carol had done. To see all of her choices in real time, to see what kind of person this hero is. Remember when Carol teleported Kamala into almost certain death and Monica is too incompetent to save her? We have here a chance for some very interesting events to take place. As she sees the ground drawing closer and closer, it dawns on Kamala that she must save herself. She makes ramps and large, long, flat platforms in several creative ways to slow herself down again and again. Still, she breaks her arm or she gets some kind of serious injury to compound just how much these heroes failed. That Carol put Kamala in this situation and didn't even care to learn her name, alongside Monica being mostly confused instead of focusing and using her power to help people. It was the perfect prompt for Kamala to realize she had come to see attributes and values in another person as inspiration that weren't truly there. However, that doesn't make those perceived values any less important. She can become the person she wanted to see. We could follow her through countless great adventures, saving all kinds of people, representing the opposite of Darth Ben. A mirror, a person inspired by the ineptitude and selfishness of Planck in the opposite direction. Monica needs complete reworking as well, but the fact is they would never do anything like what's been laid out. It involves a harsh and difficult look at these women and their humanity, something these writers are not interested in. Planck is written to be a hero despite the fact that almost all of her most significant actions are drenched in self-interest and destruction. Introspective or consequence-led writing is not on the table. A shame, because I think the potential is strong for a villain role here, with a decent chance for some sort of redemption depending on how the story unfolds.
What's so exciting about putting these three people together as well as a writer is all of the juicy conflict.
They did, in fact, not take advantage of any juicy conflict, which brings us to the other elements of filmmaking. The soundtrack was fine. The effort to place a new and dynamic set of instruments to evoke space and wonder was indeed noticed, but falls on a script with no intention of making any use of it at all. The performances, excluding Iman Vellani, were weak. Most seemed to have had fun with the on-set experience, and I'm sure it was a blast. But the dreary and basic expressions of moving through this mostly uneventful screenplay were hard to miss. Very little talent is required of any of the actors throughout the story, so we don't get to see much of any. The cinematography has some small highlights, but you end up with standard sludge vision throughout. The editing is incredibly choppy, and it becomes a game to figure out just how much context got skipped over between scenes as a result of the mandate for the timecode. Oh, and there's costumes, makeup, set design, and props.
We had a lot to design on this show. The amount of sets was 54, 55.
The whole top floor was built to full size. They could then have crowds in there. Big
action scenes, fire, and so on.
Sets for this movie were huge.
8 stages, 2 back lots, 54 separate sets.
On this scale and this set that I think has taken like 4 months to build.
6 cranes, 5 different planets, a space station.
We just built the biggest wall of LEDs I've ever seen.
I think on the show we had 2,400 LED screens.
We've had 4 big workshops, around 170 crew.
5 spaceships, 2 evacuation ships, 3 evacuation pods, a space elevator, and a golf course.
We are doing things old school by hand, sculpting by hand. We're also digitally sculpting with 3D printing. We're laser cutting, where everything's drawn up in the computer.
Hair, makeup, wardrobe.
And both the massive scale of it and the attention to detail, it was really overwhelming.
Parts of the Marvel super suits that are done in rubber to space helmets, jewelry, all sorts of things.
Everything about the makeup is heightened. So the color tones, you can use a bright pink, but it's got these beautiful blues that run through it.
Wardrobe, choreography, everything. Just, it went to the next level.
You just have a thought and they create it. It's absolute magic.
You might have between 8 and 12 cutters with their teams working on the costumes, a team of 20 to 30 people in the breakdown department.
The structure of the makeup is slightly more lavish.
Aging them, dyeing them, gluing them, a leather department.
We work so long on these creations, months and months, and then suddenly they're alive.
Making the leather sculpting, costume effects department, making the armors. We got some really talented people.
Tremendous, amazing art department, 50 strong. Construction team, that's probably 350.
And the fact that they're all living and breathing and moving around in these wonderful costumes in this wonderful set, it was fantastic.
We went from her animatic to the animation with who was Framestore?
It was Framestore London.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really beautiful job adding the elements of the cellophane and the sticky notes and the hand elements. It was a creative collaboration with their creative director. Is that like iridescence on the Aladdin costumes a nod to the ocean creatures? Or was that inspired by something else?
It might have been inspired by, ooh, pretty.
All of this, every damn time in these movies, all of it is used for some shitty, singular, small portion, and it's never thought of again. It's honestly absolutely unreal and downright criminally idiotic that they spend tens of millions on this kind of material, pay hundreds of incredibly talented people to do all kinds of unforgivingly long work to design and render the kind of stuff that any film would love to have as part of it. And where does it all end up? The fucking Marvels. This is an exact repeat of how they approached the same department in Quantumania. This fully explains at least a significant portion of the budget and how it does not translate to returns. Most of this unique and downright incredible work wasn't seen or appreciated and doesn't get the chance to create the worlds the artists are tasked with populating because they fundamentally get ignored. They get pushed into the corners of the movie at best. It would seem at this point that the only purpose of most of this work is to end up in the behind-the-scenes featurettes. It became rather obvious fast that there was a rushed production. There are unfinished elements in the background and harsh cuts in the editing indicative of missing scenes. This, as a discipline, I imagine, is now spreading throughout every element of production, as opposed to the usual where it simply drains any and all time from any focus on the script. If only the script were the sole problem, which is all rather funny when considering how much people will claim they are not willing to do the homework to see this film. The reality is that watching Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Secret Invasion would only baffle you as a viewer, a dramatic irony that only the MCU could boast.
We sat down, I watched it with my sister, and she was like, so what happened in the first one? And I'm like, this is the first one, what are you talking about? No, the first one with the Angelina Jolie, and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, no, that's Tomb Raider.
Being created within the MCU has become an exceedingly frustrating albatross. Once upon a time, every new story releasing into this world had the potential to be boosted by the reputation of everything prior. It was actually something special.
You're special, Bethany.
In the old, non-retarded sense of the word.
And where that was a boon, it is now a curse, and a reset is inevitable. The MCU is now absolutely special in that retarded kind of way. In terms of box office, critical acclaim, and celebration, The Marvels has protein in urine. The film could barely carve $200 million out of a disinterested populace, which isn't much of a surprise when considering the marketing. No, what you are seeing on screen right now is indeed official marketing. They spent money on this. To call it an unmitigated disaster for Disney would be a dramatic understatement. They lost $237 million on this unambiguous train wreck, setting fucking records. They were desperate for it to simply go out and disappear into history as a minor embarrassment. But as a wise clown once said,
everything burns.
I'll come by and check on you later.
The obvious sequence that we're gonna get to, but I was laughing. It was hysterical. I was laughing so hard the entire row was shaking. My sister was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay.
I am not okay.
In retrospect, it's particularly sad that they went out of their way to try and lift up a film they knew was dead in the water by baiting the X-Men, Thanos, the Avengers, and specifically Steve Rogers and Tony Stark.
There's Tony, there's Steve, there's Carol, part of the Avengers, right there.
It's like she photoshopped herself with her arm around Tony.
Yeah.
The approach with the marketing for the Marvels has been nothing short of hilarious, all the way down to the mistakes made in interviews or the casual conversation in audio commentaries.
So this is a space elevator, which again, all the screens are practical. This is not volume, but I love how it looks out of the window.
It's not volume, but I love how it looks. Particularly funny considering the volume is now a special effects extravaganza that's lost so much of its allure, it's a marketing boon to claim it's not a part of your project. Make no mistake, marketing costs a lot of money and they spend it on all kinds of interesting strategies, like cat live streams or imagery of films people actually care about. Or they try something else.
Many women around the world watched Avengers Endgame and had that 6 seconds of all the Marvel women together. And I once had like chills, but I also was very annoyed. I was like, 2 hours of this, please.
One of the main things that I love about the Marvels is the strong female representation.
The fact that I'm surrounded by so many cool women and powerful people, you know, working alongside me, it's been a real blessing, I think.
To have this much female energy at the forefront is really fresh.
We all wanted to find a female strength, right? To do this without it being sexualized, with just being women.
We have an all-female main cast. We have a really diverse group of women.
It was amazing to work on a film with 3 lady heroes, a badass lady villain.
So rare where you get to see this many badass people of color and women at the forefront of a movie.
And many, many lady department heads. Female producer, female director. It was pretty great.
We had all female first chair players, and I insisted on a diverse orchestra, so we saw a lot of different faces in the orchestra, so that was great.
It was just women and being strong.
The reality is the incessant focus on this being a huge element of the movie and a boon to the entire operation draws people to a conclusion that it's a significant element to blame for the quality. Humans are pattern seekers, and the more you market like this, the more you tell everyone that the newest cinematic sludge bucket was only possible thanks to women. The way to serve women in this industry as part of a multi-$100 million project is to hire talented and tested veteran writer-directors. It is to talk about their achievements in the marketing, their talents, their previous works. It is to explore how their flair is going to make this story one to remember. Instead, just talking inanely about how women are part of the project does nothing for anyone. Using it as a point of significant fresh praise makes anyone passionate about filmmaking wonder whether you have any familiarity with with its history at all.
Aladna, it's the colourful bit in the movie, it's the happy bit in the movie, it's the girly bit, if you like. I'm not interested in all the fights.
Good lord, woman, I'm surprised they let you say that.
He makes me look so good, and you wear the hair well.
Yep, that's as funny as it was last time. The backward-ass approach Disney have had to projecting their own feigned moral fortitude in almost all of their recent artistic endeavors has been nothing short of cringeworthy overcompensation, condescension, and downright dumb fuckery. Men and women have their differences and work wonderfully together. How about we celebrate that instead of hindering it?
There's a scene where I do my famous killer thigh move when I jump up and I wrap a leg around and I pull my leg and the biggest fanny fart comes out and all I heard was, "Get me out of here!"
Alright, bad example. The MCU is now facing metaphorical bankruptcy or foreclosure or, well, creative bankruptcy for sure, but when will it come to an actual stop? Well, who can say? There are many forms of it actually stopping. They could start hiring writers and directors again. They could start making great films. Or they could outright put it on ice. What we do know is voting with your wallet has never been more indicative of the audience being fucking tired. And I'm right there with you. Marvel is in a bit of a state, has been for a while, and exploring this movie has only given me more and more insight into why.
The most fun and exciting thing about this is to be able to add to the canon.
And just think of the canon you are destroying along the way. You'd assume a modicum of respect for the comics is to be found somewhere in this production.
For the costumes, the genesis of everything is the comics. You look at this illustration and it informs you very much of what the character is, so you can bring that into something that then is made real, is made 3D, is made out of fabric.
I'm a big comic person, so I was like, let's go to the comics. And basically we took what the comics did with like the different levels of the Kree military. They have different emblems, they have different colors, and we just transferred it into sort of Darth Ben's color palette, so it's browns and golds instead of like in the comics it's like more primary colors and also more bright colors.
The more you understand the origins of many design elements throughout the production in relation to the comics as a source, the more you realize they only consider them aesthetically, and sometimes not at all. I think this phenomenon came to a head in the late 2010s and has permeated through to the present. The notion that you should lean into the comic design specifically to appeal to the built-in audience on the surface instead of ignoring said designs and in some cases outright mocking them as per previous generations.
You actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
This attention to a suit design here and a character design there is enough to hopefully tranquilize the audience into believing the story might just be faithful or respectful. However, if it hadn't already become obvious, they make most of this up as they go along, something that is far from unprecedented.
I want to say, for whoever's looking, there are no specific Easter eggs in these holograms. You could make stuff up.
That's true.
We very intentionally didn't make any of those things mean anything.
Okay, so the Cosmorod / universal weapon / Ronin's hammer, whatever. We were doing this alongside Miss Marvel shooting, I'm pretty sure, and so I basically, like, our team designed a bangle. And they also had a bangle, but we kind of changed the bangle.
Any of this in isolation probably wouldn't matter much at all, but we already know this is how most decisions are made, from as small as the design of the bangle all the way up to whether or not Captain America is dead in this universe. It all comes down to every element of care, effort, skill, and time. Elements Marvel actively despises.
Sam just started talking into the phone. Because what you saw in the last scene is not real. We put it in later, so there wasn't actually a screen there. And the prop standby was like, he's not supposed to be talking into it. And I was like, it's fine. We don't have time in our day to shoot what it would need to be because we need to get everyone's coverage. Who cares about continuity?
Of course, no time for that, but plenty of time for this.
I mean, what does a flirkin look like when it's grooming?
Exactly.
You end up wondering just how much control there truly is on these projects, down to what can even be said legally.
Because I I don't know if I can say nega band, but basically quantum bands, nega bands.
That clip would probably be enough if you ever wanted proof that nobody watches audio commentaries before they're sent out. But then, so would this one.
Yes, Mr. Fury is right. Give it to me. I will take it home.
I will take it home. Like, what do you mean you're going to take it home, Mediva? I love that line so much.
Wow. I thought we weren't allowed to do stereotypical voices and laugh afterward.
I will take it home.
How the fuck did you get away with that? What are you, Liam Neeson?
She said, no problem, no problem. I be here 20 years, no problem.
You really never know what you might just come across.
You know what surprised me? That Kevin Feige is like a good person. Because you always think like, okay, he like rules over this like entire empire. He must be like, you know, I literally, all my friends who are in the Marvel universe, I was like, just tell me he's a bad person, I won't take the movie. And they're like, no, he's kind of great actually, and just really loves his job. And I was like,
wow, you can really just say anything, huh?
You know, she's a villain, she's doing terrible things, she's stealing resources. But similar to Europeans coming to the New World and,
wait, what?
You know, wiping out the populations because they needed resources, but
what are you talking
stole
about?
them. And that's sort of what's wrong about what she's doing. It's like, yes, you want to save your people, but you can't do it at the expense of everyone that she hurts in this film.
Stop talking.
And that was sort of an important message to me.
What?
Like, anti-imperialist.
What are you
anti-colonization.
What? Shut the fuck up. Look, I enjoy the fact that many people have many things to say, but
the people are retarded.
Your movie is about a cosmic clown woman trying to find herself. It ain't that deep. If you watch the behind-the-scenes documentaries, the audio commentaries, the assembled extras, interviews, etc., you will discover that Nia DaCosta had immense control of this project, that it was rare for any particular decision in any department to be under anyone's vision but her own. This is not a criticism of approach, as this kind of artistic control can lead to some of the greatest works of all time. It is, however, an observation. I support and promote the concept of giving artists power in their work. That, however, doesn't make you immune from the reality of the finished product, which in this case was dire. The audio commentary is remarkable in that they spend almost the entire timecode talking about everything other than the writing. Writing that she absolutely had a strong hand in, both on the page and in production. Much of the film looks, sounds, and plays out the way she believed it should have. However, after the box office results, after Bob Iger threw her under the bus, and after she was given enough temporal room to be able to shit on the experience without concern for damaging future prospects, she changed her mind. While speaking at Dublin's second annual screenwriting festival, Storyhouse Ireland, the playlist, shared DaCosta's feelings on the fallout of the film, stating, quote, "It was interesting because there was a certain point where I was like, okay, this isn't going to be the movie I pitched or even the first version of the movie I shot. So I realized that this is now an experience and it's a learning curve and it really makes you stronger as a filmmaker in terms of your ability to navigate. Quote, making the 20 years later sequel was one of the best filmmaking experiences I've had, DaCosta told The Hollywood Reporter. Quote, one of the issues I had with Candyman and Marvels was the lack of a really solid script, which is always gonna just wreak havoc on the whole process. Lack of a solid script, huh? Well, sorry ladies, she thought your work was shit. But there's no way DaCosta would have claimed this if the movie didn't end up being the most embarrassing failure. Well, most embarrassing failure so far. I'm sure it would have been her baby through and through if it got even a fraction of the box office that Captain Marvel did. Also, I can't take her seriously on the front of blaming other people for a fuck-up when she's the one saying who cares about continuity.
Who cares about continuity?
You should. Yet another flop at the box office might even convince you it's somewhat worthwhile. It is clear where the Marvel sits in terms of the achievements of the MCU, sharing similar qualitative prestige as Black Widow, Multiverse of Madness, and Quantumania, which makes Bob Iger's comments that much more interesting, doesn't it?
Well, The Marvels was shot during COVID. There wasn't as much supervision on the set, so to speak, where we have executives there really looking over what's being done day after day after day. And that was a result of, mostly of COVID, but at the same time, we increased our output tremendously to feed the streaming platforms. Too much, by the way.
Mistake.
Definite mistake.
Oh, I'm sure no supervision was needed. It's not like they're children.
Nia really cared about cats.
It was so cute. Even the grumpiest crew members would be like, where are the cats? Like, you know.
When you have your director coming up to you giving you notes and like everyone's got a kitten, that's a great day.
Well, at least they nailed the important things. So, what is the fate of our Captain Plank?
It's not all mine. Anybody could take that mantle. And I also feel at peace with the fact that we've got this new school coming in. I was born for this. There's new faces, new superheroes coming in, and so I don't know where Carol's place is.
Fucking hell, they better offer her a shit ton of money or she's out. Joining the MCU right after getting an Oscar might have been the worst decision of her entire career. It's like building your house on the Titanic today, which is somewhat suitable as a descriptor for this film.
Multiverse is a concept.
To summarize, the world building is absolutely fucked, and they somehow managed to make it worse. The plot is stitched together with one scene out of every 3 from the original cut, cobbled together in a mad rush to not only keep audiences from falling into a cringe-induced coma, but to spam the number of showings this cinematic sinew could possibly have in a single day, resulting in an over-erratic, difficult-to-follow, fast-as-fuck cluttered shambles. The theming is dire. Only one clear message comes through, despite being heavily hampered by just about every event in the story. Alongside characters that are either assassinated again and again, used up for jokes and plot pushing, or underutilized to the point of having no reference, even in passing, despite the narrative need for them or the marketing insinuations. There is not a single arc to fucking find in this miserable mess.
She is just the way she is the whole time, and she's totally static. If she was a great character but static, that'd be one thing, but she's boring, is basically what I'm getting at. She's got nothing going on.
Yeah, like if I have a diamond in my house and it just stays that way, that's all right.
Yeah.
But if I have a turd that I haven't flushed, I would like it to go. I'd like it to change or
You should
move
house instead.
Which leaves us with a shit-slapping pace directed with the care of a drunk eel, colored to some effect by a half-caring soundtrack, splashed with rushed, ugly CGI, bungled fight choreography, practically priding itself on its sporadic and nonsensical nature, coated in a complete lack of imagination and fear of showing any weakness or growth for the characters, to the point of giving them all significant, unintended, negative traits. The performances were bland at best. Bree pulled out yet another stone-faced, bored-as-fuck, please leave me alone performance, with Iman Vellani feeling like she's the only person who was actually happy to be there. At least the animation was neat. Oh, and I still haven't talked about the only remaining scene. They decided to recreate that moment between Tony Stark and Nick Fury in Iron Man.
Can I help you? Kate Bishop.
I am Iron Man. You think you're the only superhero in the world?
Did you think you were the only kid superhero in the world?
Mr. Stark, you become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
You've just become part of a much larger universe. Which, at the moment, is just me.
Who the hell are you? Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I do have feelers out, though. Did you know Ant-Man had a daughter?
What do you want?
I'm putting together a team.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
And I want you on it.
She wants Kate on the Kid Avengers. She's 30.
15, Mr. Bennett. Motherfucker, you look 30.
The moment they decided to copy and paste with their own repulsive gunk slathered all over it was in fact the moment the MCU was created. The moment providing a promise to the audience that more was to come, to entertain, to inspire. That everything you've seen and will see is going to be remembered, developed, and respected. They did it again, only now it serves as a warning of the opposite, both in reference to what we've seen and what is to come. And all to what? Promote the Young Avengers, which is at least comprised of 3 girls you know barely anything about. You have Kamala, Cassie Lang, and you have Kate Bishop, who was given time in the Hawkeye TV show. To me, it sounds like further box office destruction, and honestly, why even bother putting all of these people through it? Just stop. Also, yes, that Cassie Lang.
You just don't care.
I love these two together.
Me too, they're great. Please do Young Avengers.
Oh God, no, please.
She pitched an entire Galactus movie.
Please don't do this.
Please don't.
Don't give this team even more characters to destroy. They will do it in a heartbeat. They think they made something great. They think they're the shit, but they're not even the stain.
That not only do these, stories have such a robust fan base, but they sell.
Oh, you sweet summer child. This ending scene and the scene it's trying to vampirically reference act as bookends of the rise and fall of what was a pretty neat idea turned into a maggot-infested, rotting heap ready for something else to burst out. Both in disgust and in the hope of finally bringing back some dignity to this sector of the art form. The Marvels is the coffin of the MCU for many reasons. Upon the release of Captain Marvel in 2018, a significant change was evident at Marvel, something planned for rollout years prior and still taking hold long past Endgame. Heroes are no longer focused on heroic qualities of striving to learn, to improve, to achieve, to realize principles that are upheld through hell or high water. Instead, spectacle through frantic ooze masquerading as special effects supported with characters nobody wanted to see, replacing those we care about. Only for them to learn, very simply, they were the best all along. A rigid unwillingness to challenge the mind, the heart, or the spirit. Instead, keeping a low hum of emotional stakes throughout, hitting every known beat in a book with shaved edges, looking to simply bank on box office indefinitely while sailing through whatever cultural hot topic should exist at the time without making too much of a statement. The Marvels secured this era's doom. You do see residue with subsequent entries, however, the box office cannot be ignored. Neither can the acting CEO of Disney personally and publicly shafting the installment, changing trajectory with what was already in play, taking us to a focus on pure and utter reference slop, a yanking of every emergency chord they have, a call to all famous, beloved legacy characters from across every IP fostered in better, happier worlds before the MCU absorbs them all into one giant grey-brown soulless disaster with a nostalgic bow on top. You can see that DNA having more than begun prior to this film's release in both the marketing and even previous films all the way to the post-credit scenes. Brave New World attempted to move on by baiting a title fans want returned with appearances from characters that are Franken-echoes of those once beloved. The Thunderbolts were marketed desperately as the new Avengers, with appearances from characters you know and theoretically love. The Fantastic Four, a sure thing, a team everyone knows and loves, going back to basics. No nonsense, only it's not working. Truly, all that worked was Deadpool and Wolverine, a nostalgia holocaust, a systemic studio-sponsored stigmatization, sterilization, and slaughter of all things meaningful from works it failed to earn even the fleeting chance to reference, solidifying, especially with the other entries, that the audience will pay for the chance to remember better times and to ignore what passes for artistry now. This describes the curse of the MCU, whereas the Marvels is a coffin. A coffin built for a creative perspective that is all but dead. Built for the box office of the worst MCU flop in history. Built for the end of these characters' stories in the MCU as no fan wishes to support them. Built for Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, a character she doesn't even want want or care to play. Built for the critical reception, a flurry of confusion, concern, and disgust as to the heights this franchise has fallen from. Built for the reality of its cultural relevance, carrying forward the explosive impact of its bigger brothers by approximating the social media presence of a dying echo of a sun-bleached photocopy of a crippled ghost wandering aimlessly out of an abandoned insane asylum for the clinically pathetic. Built for a creative black hole that has long existed at Marvel Studios with no sign of slowing down, only mutating into yet another chimera of regret. And finally, a coffin symbolic of the audience's interest, patience, and tolerance. A story to continue upon the release of the appropriately titled Doomsday. And so, having answered the question of how did we get here, perhaps the question now is where did we come from? Is the contrast that blatant? Perhaps instead a simple result of recency bias, of nostalgia, an overblown sense of appreciation for entries that were in fact just as awful, or perhaps a series of entries that truly did the work, that truly respected the source material, synchronized with many artists, understood its fan base, incorporated and explored authentic heroism, and generated not just a foundational platform for the MCU to climb upon, but a crown in which the jewels of entertainment, inspiration, and escapism sat side by side with pride as the box office exploded. For anything found dead, one would assume it once lived, and so one wonders, was it once worth saving? Regarding the systemic filmmaking death suffered by the Marvels laid out in this video, is there an entry within the MCU itself that not only comes through on character, theme, world, and plot, not only blasts open the box office, not only acts as a foundationally referenced wonder for the franchise to sit pretty upon, but acts as an all-out, straight-up, irrelevant of any additional context, excellent movie? Well, give me a few months and I might just have a rather comprehensive breakdown from singular words of dialogue to every meta you could imagine of a movie that I believe very much does achieve each of these accolades and makes it look easy. Though, we can't think about that right now. Let's wrap up on the Marvels. The best way to summarize all of this is that Disney did a really big shot, and they've only just started to realize how loud it was, let alone how wet. They have systematically scrubbed the relevance of their own IPs in pop culture, and you'd be forgiven for assuming that was the sole intention. Marvel is now no less misunderstood than Star Wars is.
May the Force be with you.
As much as the Marvels is yet another milestone in this extensive downfall, it is still ultimately the symptom of a much larger issue that we can only hope will see some change in the coming years. A sad reality, yet it is always darkest before the dawn. Which brings us to the end of the video. If you were upset by anything said throughout, please don't panic, it was purely intentional. As for the rest, thank you so much for watching. I do hope as time goes on we can find more and more media and entertainment that brings us inspiration, elation, satisfaction, and, well, entertainment. Be nice if we could celebrate it together. Fandom and media discussion are honestly my bread and butter in the most fundamental of ways. I find it sad how divided a lot of the nature of the online world has become. Polarization exists in far more than just the political or the extreme. Drawing lines is something we humans are rather good at, though as time has progressed, those lines can feel far thicker and more frequent. I find media can be something of a balm on culture, and I hope we get some entries soon enough that encourage us to celebrate it together. Perhaps then we could spend less energy on what keeps us apart.
You are a white, I'm assuming middle class Asian American. White presenting, I should say.
I'm white presenting?
Wait.
What?
Yeah,
What the heck?
Let me rephrase that.
Can you look at me right now? I can simplify that for you. I can simplify that for you if that upset you.
But there's no reason we can't have a good laugh, take a few jabs, and celebrate regardless. I look forward to showing you guys what else is coming for this channel, both in praise and criticism of that wonderful thing we call media. Until then, though, I suppose this is goodbye. Big thank you to Fringy for editing most of the visuals on this video. Please check his channel out, link in the description. If you'd like to see more, please support the channel through Patreon, subscribe, Star, Streamlabs, or YouTube memberships, and make sure to check out the second channel, Moolah, a wonderful place where we talk about all kinds of movies, video games, and TV shows every week. But for now, that's it, folks. I'll see you next time. In 2009, when the MCU had just begun, Feige paid Batman and Robin a backhanded compliment. Speaking with the LA Times, Kevin Feige said, "Batman and Robin may be the most important comic book movie ever made. It was so bad that it demanded a new way of doing things. It created the opportunity to do X-Men and Spider-Man, adaptations that respected the source material and adaptations that were not campy." The article later reads, "As the saying goes, things needed to get worse before they got better." However, after the box office results, after Bog Iger